Oh, welcome in. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Home of the world beater, San Diego Padres. Unbelievable. I'm feigning excitement there a little bit, just a little bit. Me plus 10%. Hope you're having a good start to your morning. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He is our executive producer, our director of imaging. Good morning, Paulie.
Thought you were going to say, welcome to 97.3 The Fan, home of the biggest story in sports, Monday Night Football last night.
Well, we will definitely get to that.
We did not have the game on our station here
We did not?
night, but
Oh,
we
no.
do carry Monday Night Football.
We do carry Monday night. Why wasn't it on last night? Because the Padres. Yeah,
Padres played.
Yeah, we're on the flagship. I've been up since 1:30.
It was on like a secondary station.
You've been up since 1:30.
Yeah,
I've been
sucks.
asleep since I was asleep at like about 1:20. You basically
Ships
got
passing
up
in the night.
the moment I fell asleep last night.
I hate these mornings. I'm so bad on these mornings. That's Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. I'm so bad on those mornings. My wife, she gets up early, as you know, to work out, and just one of those days where I happen to hear her. She's usually pretty good. About 95% of the time, she's usually I don't even realize that I reach over and try to grab a little butt, a little boob, nothing little about him, and I reach over and I'm like, oh crap, she's gone. So then I fall back asleep. But this morning she came in, got up, and I was, I got you to the Padres game. She's like, what? And walked out of the room, and then I was wide awake. Got up, made a cup of coffee, breakfast. Went back, laid in bed, scrolled, watched a lot of the Padres game that I missed last night because I fell dead asleep. Sorry, and then got up, showered, had another cup of coffee, came in here. I've been here for 2 hours, and then just had another cup of coffee and 10 milligrams. So it's not going to be a good day for me. It's already 6:03. I'm already just zooted.
He never has a third cup at home.
He does this morning. Also, if you're watching on the YouTube stream, I don't know how many people will get this reference, but I look like Victor Maitland from Beverly Hills Cop. Right now, there is a zit the size of a quarter on my head. And Victor Maitland, the villain?
Beverly Hills Cop, right?
You haven't the slightest idea who you're effing with. He's one of the best villains of any movie ever. Victor Maitland, art dealer, coke dealer. He had that big thing in the middle of his forehead. It looked like a bullseye. And that's what I have now. And, at 48 years old, you thought you were done with all this. Like zits and stuff popping up, and I got this trip coming up. I'm like, oh, cool. I think I get them from wearing hats now.
How bad was it when you were a teenager?
None.
You didn't have it.
Nothing.
I
nothing.
mean, I had a couple, but it wasn't like the.
I had some friends. I was like, bro, you gotta get away from me.
I mean, I always felt bad for the
Me
people
too.
who, had just a face full of them. There's
100%.
nothing you can do about it. It's not their
nothing you can
fault.
do.
It's it's just some genetics, and they all grew out of it at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't have it too badly. Occasionally, I get a really bad one, like right in the
corner of your nose?
Yeah, in the corner
Ooh.
of the nose, right there.
Well,
sometimes, but
On this Peyton Manning 5 head of mine, I've got one big one, and then there's one little one.
Look at this one.
Hey, Eli, look at this zit. It's unbelievable. So I've got this, and it hurts to the touch.
that usually means it's nearing.
Is that completion?
It's coming to a head.
So yeah, I got that going for me, which is nice. But the Victor Maitland reference, wasn't sure how many of you guys would get that. But Ben knew it right away. Paul, have you seen Beverly Hills Cop? One of the best.
Yeah, it's
one
good.
of the best ever.
One of my favorite soundtracks.
Yeah,
of all time.
Harold
too.
Faltermeyer.
Yeah,
It's
but
fantastic.
the whole soundtrack is good.
Yeah,
not
Pointer
just the
Sisters.
Absolutely.
Him
Bob
and the-
Seger is
Bob
in the
Seger,
second one, I
yes,
think. Yeah, that's
yes.
a good one too.
Fantastic
I
film.
think I've only seen the first one.
The second one's okay. The third one, not so good.
No,
the second one's good.
I don't even know if I've seen the third one. The second one's
good.
Is pretty good.
The
for a
Alphabet
sequel.
Killer?
Yeah,
Oh, my God,
pretty good
dude.
for a
It's
sequel.
really
Brigitte
good.
Nielsen.
Brigitte Nielsen.
Yeah,
Whew.
for a second one's pretty good for
It's
a sequel.
damn good for a sequel. That's probably in my top 5 of sequels. Beverly Hills Cop 2. Very believable, the whole bit. Axel Foley and Taggart and Bogomil and Billy Rosewood. I went to, when we were at Mighty 1090, there was a golf tournament, like a celebrity golf tournament, and one of the guys we worked with said, hey, dude, come down. There's some celebs down here and, just make an appearance. I said, well, who's down there? He goes, the guy that played Taggart in Beverly Hills Cop. I go, I'm on my way. I went down there. I got a picture with him. I was like, I texted to my brother. We watch that movie every day. I literally drove probably 30 minutes away to get a picture with Taggart from
he
Beverly Hills
He was
Cop.
so reluctant to help Axel, but in the end, he came through
They were
when
buddies.
they needed him.
Yeah, they were buddies. Pretty good punch you got there, Taggart. Anyway, so we digress this morning, as we often do in our foreplay segment. How was everyone's afternoon or day or evening? Anything exciting happen?
I wouldn't call it exciting. We have ants in the
Dude,
house.
you have more critters in your home.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
mouse
think
is
it's
still
this-
there.
Yeah, we killed the mouse.
You
Yeah.
killed him,
Yeah, we got one of those electronic traps and got him.
put him in the chair.
Yeah, unfortunately. But
Electronic trap.
but now it's ants.
What's an
And
electronic trap?
It's like a
It's like Diplo
It looks
plays. He walks into a thing, and it's just like...
it looks like a it's like a black, like a almost like a tube, like a little house that they can walk into. That they and once they walk in,
It shocks him.
mouses walk in, but they don't.
They don't walk out.
Oh crap! It electrocutes them somehow, and that's it. They're done. But they're all over the place.
Ants.
We have sprayed. We have the outside pest control, but they said, hey, if you come inside, you really you have to clear out the kids, the pets, everything for like at least 4 or 5 hours, and that's a real pain in the butt. So
Like
they
a
said,
bug bomb.
they said, hopefully, we'll do the outside treatment, and that should get rid of them, but it didn't. So there's, I think it's because of the rain that we've had this summer and the heat, the humidity. They've just been popping up in like every room in our house. Just so now I had to schedule tomorrow them to do inside, which is fine. They'll come and do it. But now I've got to figure out where to take the dogs for at least 5 or 6 hours to get out of the house. So I had to schedule them a nice bath, a little
That's a good
a
idea.
little spa grooming day to get them out of the house. The kids have to be
Out.
out, and they're going to be in class, I think. So I
Do
said
you-
you just can't come home until at least like 4 or 5.
Do your kids leave a lot of food out?
I mean, sometimes like anyone, kids don't always bring their plates down, but it's not. It's not what you
down
it's,
from
it's
from their room.
from their room.
They
yeah,
eat in their
They
room?
sometimes eat in their room. But it's not what you
Freaking
think. Like,
teenagers,
oh my
dude.
God, there's 1,000 ants on this. Like, no, it's like there's
Pizza
like
crust in
There's
the
like
sofa. and-
There's like 6 ants everywhere. It's not like there's 10,000 ants all over this, dried piece of
Dried
pizza
crust.
that wasn't eaten. No, there's like 6 ants in the bathroom and 6 ants in the bedroom and 12 ants in the kitchen, and no matter what you do, I'll just like squish them and, and then come back, and 4 hours later, there's another 6 that have taken their place, just constantly rotating, like in they've got some sort of schedule that they've established to just drive me crazy. So
My dad and mom used to get that was
Hannah
like
says clean them with an ammonia-based product.
Oh yeah, Hannah knows. She knows.
I guess my finger is not an ammonia-based product.
Hannah knows. Extermination and getting up early are the 2 things she knows the best.
Diesel says put cornmeal around the main entrance. They will take it back to their nest and feed it to them. They can't digest it, and they will die.
Dad's fan says, "Is that the diet secret, Ben? Ants eat all your food, and you can't eat anything."
It says use talcum powder for ants. We have lots of experts on ant control in the YouTube chat this morning.
Fantastic. My parents used to get so mad. You'd have like a bowl of ice cream with like a piece of pie crust inside of it, and you didn't eat the crust and just leave it in your room for days as you're sucking down an apple pie a la mode at 3 a.m. in the morning. Like, they used to get so mad about food left in the bedrooms.
Oh,
and
I do the yelling like, bring your dish down.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but they're still teenagers for the
Teenagers,
most
man.
part, and they get distracted by a video game or whatever they're doing, and all of a sudden the dish is there for a day, and it's not
Teenagers.
great, but they're teenagers.
I'm so nervous about the teen years. I'm just so nervous about the teen years with my 2 boys, man. I think about it all the freaking time. All the time. They are going to be nightmares. There's no doubt about it. Well, we've got a good show planned for you today. Jesse Agler will join us. It's nice to talk to Jesse after a big win. Let me revise that. This is a win. They won a game against the Dodgers that they probably should have lost, that they typically always lose.
It's always nice to beat the Dodgers.
It's always nice to beat the Dodgers. I mean, but it lacks a certain punch. It lacks a certain luster at this time. And in fact, I crashed, man. I could not stay awake. I watched all the Monday Night Football game.
How much of a difference does 7:10 first pitch make?
It's night and day. Also,
Bro,
can
it was
we
like
get
8:15. I'm like, it's the third inning.
Can we get one of those mouse traps for Josh Allen, perhaps? If we could get Josh Allen into a mouse trap, I'd like to do that as somebody that
Fantasy team?
No,
No.
not fantasy. No.
Well-
You can't beat the Jets that lost Aaron. Zach Wilson got you last night. It was unbelievable. It was an
Somebody bet
unbelievable game.
Buffalo, didn't they?
Yep, they did. It's a lock, an absolute lock. Buffalo minus
What's going on
2.
over there, Ben?
I don't know. My camera just
Don't do
zoomed
the
in on
finger.
me. I tried to undo the finger.
I
Stop.
think you have to unplug it and plug it back in again. Are you good? You are very close.
I got zoomed in tight on me.
You're very close. I'm sure the radio audience loves this, by the way.
Well, you don't have to comment. I'm just fixing it here.
Hard not to comment.
It's hard not to. You're waving your finger around and not paying attention, so don't know what to do here.
I lost in fantasy football. I had Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback. What happened last night?
I had him as my backup,
I didn't actually.
so I dropped him. That was honestly, guys, like one of the
awful.
more surreal sports moments I think I've seen in the last decade. Truly, like
I'm glad you said that.
It was
I
surreal.
thought something along the same lines. I thought this is insane.
It's truly like
We see guys get hurt all the time in football.
this was the 6 months of hype.
Yeah.
The ayahuasca trip, the cave, I don't know what I'm doing.
You see guys have all that hype and throw 3 interceptions, have
Sure.
a bad game,
Yeah, like
get demolished.
let down,
Bro,
on a new squad.
Like the first time he drops back to pass, are you kidding me?
I mean, 4 plays he made it. 4 plays. And I started thinking about I've got one of my dear friends, Matty Cordero, is a huge Jets fan. So I had bet him. He was all hyped. Now listen, they got a good defense. Their defense is dirty. And they've got some playmakers. But I still was like, bro, it's the Jets. He goes, they're going to win at least 10 games. I go, I'll bet you $100. So then I got kind of nervous. When all the preseason hype started coming out, I go, all right, Matty, you know what? Let me buy you out of it right now for $50. He goes, no effing way. And I go, damn it. So last night, Aaron Rodgers goes down. And I write him, I go, you bummed that you didn't take that buyout? He goes, I'm literally in hell. I'm about to cry. And then they win the game, and I'm like, but they're going to win 6 games with Zach Wilson. I mean, maybe. Their defense can't do it all every single week. They
It's
just
such
can't.
a good defense.
It's such a good defense.
You made me a believer that had you had a competent Aaron Rodgers, you were going to have a really, really good season.
100%. I was sweating it. I really was. And for him to go out there and run through 4 plays. Now, usually, the misery for a Jet fan, here's how I thought it was going to play out, honestly, for the Jets this year. Aaron Rodgers was going to have a pretty damn good year. And then they were going to get bounced in the first round by an inferior opponent. I was like, it's almost guaranteed. They may win their 10 games. I may lose $100. But it's going to be a long, slow, dragged out execution. It's not going to be walk up behind you and boom, right in the back of the head. They're going to starve you to death as a Jets fan for the entire year. No, this was one shot, back of the head, game over, season over for Aaron Rodgers. I guess the reports are in. It's a torn ACL. I mean, and he is absolutely donezo. Ben said they had to clear his locker out last night, or they cleared his locker out last night. The head coach, Saleh, looked like he looked like he was going to cry at one point. He also looked like he was going to throw up. There was one point on the sidelines. He was standing there, and I swear to God, I saw him retch. Like,
All right, I'll deal with the quarterback real quick. Concerned with his Achilles. MRI is probably going to confirm what we think is already going to happen. So prayers tonight, but it's not good.
You're done.
It's not torn. Somebody says it's not torn.
I think it's torn.
I
mean,
swear I'm seeing
you
that
can
it's
see
torn.
they showed the
They
close
showed
up
the
of it
calf
rolling
jiggling
up, at least partially torn. I mean, he had that accordion snap in the back of the calf that indicates an Achilles tear. So
For them to win that game, though, was pretty wild.
It was.
And the fashion that they won it, of course. But, man, like, they were talking about it on the broadcast. I didn't watch much Hard Knocks at all this year.
I didn't either.
saw some clips coming around. I do like Robert Saleh.
Saleh.
I do like.
Saleh?
I like what I've seen from him.
Saleh.
He seems like a guy I would like to play for.
Yeah, seems like a good dude.
And I think Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were talking about it, how him and Hackett is the offensive
Yeah,
coordinator.
Daniel
Bro,
Hackett.
they've been planning for 6 months
Well,
for that game with Aaron Rodgers.
They said-
and you got to just on the fly.
They said Hackett now has to call plays for Zach Wilson. They are not the same plays.
Right.
They're not the same plays. And Peyton Manning in the Manning cast was like, I did 6 months of preparation on Aaron Rodgers. I got nothing on Zach
Yeah, I saw
Wilson.
that.
Nobody thought Zach Wilson would be in that game and give him a chance to win, which they ultimately did last night. So we'll talk Monday Night Football. We'll talk Padres Dodgers, what it all means. Wouldn't be a day that ends in Y without being dragged by the national media. So that's cool. That happened to the San Diego Padres again yesterday. Just the latest dragging of our beloved baseball team.
You're being corrected. You said ACL, not Achilles.
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 I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not an ACL.
It's
It's,
a
an
torn
Achilles.
Achilles.
Yes, it's a torn Achilles.
My fault.
Either way, it's a season-ending injury, though, for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, not coming back.
All right, should be a good show. We got our Daily Ditty coming up next. I
What are we
just
doing
realized.
here?
Huh?
Are we doing Woodsy wanted to pawn off your
You want to take mine?
I'll
Go ahead,
let's-
because I just realized that
Okay.
my pick is not from the 90s. It was from 2002. So I was going to have to
So
make
we'll give it to Woodsy.
Yeah, take it today because you're leaving and going on vacation. So, yeah, go ahead, Woods. It's all yours coming up next with Ben and Woods. Let's get started on a Tuesday morning. Glad to have you with us, Tier 1s. It's Ben and Woods. Let's check traffic and get rolling here on 97.3 The Fan.
Shout out to his family. Gave him a little one yesterday. Charlie Robinson passed away over the weekend, 59 years old. A Texas troubadour. Solid gold country, though. Just a brilliant storyteller. That song's called Sunset Boulevard, my friend.
Very nice.
Very nice.
This segment of Ben and Woods is brought to you by the Golf Mart. We'll get into our Padres wrap-up in just a second. I'm looking forward. I have not heard Jesse Agler's call of the comeback and Juan Soto's go-ahead home run, so I am looking forward to that in a second. I think as a Padres fan, it's been hard to look forward to these last couple of weeks of the season.
It has,
I mean,
man.
it's obviously
been a grind, yeah.
incredibly disappointing. This is not what we expected. I see a lot of people were tweeting, God, I forgot they were even playing the Dodgers last night. That's so disappointing. We expected this to be one of the biggest series of the year, and
once upon a time, we would have been shirtless to start the show after a win like that.
So what you're left with is sometimes, maybe we'll get to see some of the young guys come up and make their debuts, but that's not really happening much either because they have most of their core young players, together in Double-A, going through a playoff run. We don't expect them to get call-ups. Yet I was still swayed for just a second yesterday before the game when I saw the video from the clubhouse welcoming the newest Padre, reliever Nick Hernandez, was called up. I didn't know much about Nick Hernandez.
Me neither.
He's not on the big prospect lists, but he's had a decent season at Double-A and Triple-A. An ERA under 4, which is pretty good, and the PCL and playing in some of those parks that they do. And so apparently, he's had a good year, and he earned the call up. And Philip Wellman, the manager, he said, just called me to the office, gave me the news, and he just started getting that emotional. Like, who did you call first? I called my wife, and then I called my dad,
Kills me,
then my
man. I love
mom,
it.
and then my friends, and Bob Scanlon asked, are they going to make it to the game? He goes, yeah, my wife, my 6-month-old baby, they're going to be there. They're going to get to L.A. in time. I think they just got off the plane. I haven't heard from him yet, but they should be there. And
He's a reliever, yeah?
He's just a reliever, yeah. He didn't get into the game last night, but probably will today or tomorrow. And, he'll have the moment of a lifetime for him. For the rest of us, in a game that doesn't matter at the end of a season that has lost really all of its meaning. But there can be no more meaning for a kid like that who has worked his whole life, said, I wasn't sure that I'd ever, there were moments where I doubted that it would ever get to this point.
Who was the first phone call to?
Called my wife, and then called my dad, then my mother, and then friends.
Did Willie try to trick you at all with it, or did you kind of have a sense of what was going on?
Nah, he didn't try to trick me at all. He just told me straight up. He got off the phone. I was in his office waiting for me to get off the phone, and then he let me know, and I was just couldn't process it,
Sounds like you're still trying to process it.
Yeah. It's been a long day, but.
Do you have a family here? Are they able to make it out?
Yep, they came out. I think they just landed, and wife came with the 6-month-old. My mother came, my brother came, and then I think friends are going to come tomorrow.
It's the sickest thing ever, man. I can't even imagine what that call, getting that call from the manager, and then the ability to pick up your phone, call your wife, call your mom, call your dad, say, hey, guess what? Going to the show. Forget it. I mean, that is the best part. That's really it's great winning games, but good on you, Ben, for picking that out because that's some of the best parts of sports right there.
I always think about in those people in those situations, players, young players, they don't have a ton of money. Not yet. Right. They don't. There's not much in their bank account. And how does that go? You got to fly out. Everybody that's meant something to you for that game, you're like, just charge it. Figure out.
We'll worry about it later,
you're on
man.
the next flight to LA.
Yeah, we'll worry about it later.
There,
Just
we'll
getting
figure
the
it
call
out.
up, though, the major league minimum for a couple of weeks at the end of the season is a huge raise for those guys. And it's like, that's a little found bonus
there.
money. I mean, I think they'd like to keep it, but they all want to be there.
By the way, though, that's probably the literal last thing that dude thought of was I get to walk in that clubhouse.
That's what I'm saying, though. He's like, by any means necessary.
Yeah, whatever you got to do.
Figure it out.
It's so cool, man. Such a cool moment. And, it's hard, it's hard not to root for guys like that. And, you like giving guys like that a shot at the end of the year that may never have had a shot. And I guess there is one bright side to, being out of it. And it could go the other way where you could be so far ahead that you're like, hey, let's give this guy
It'd be better.
can
Yeah,
eat some
well,
innings,
sure,
you know,
it'd be better.
But that'd be more preferable. But it wasn't to be. But hey, listen, that's a dub last night against a good team. And hey, listen, they weren't resting any regulars, as far as I could tell. The Los Angeles Dodgers were playing their A team last night, and you went out and you beat them. And, good for them.
So were the Padres.
Yep.
And the bullpen, by the way, played a pretty pivotal role in giving the Padres a chance to win that game. We'll go through it in our Padres wrap-up. Yeah, you can enjoy it. I know it doesn't mean, it doesn't hit the way a playoff win over the Dodgers hit last October, but it's still fun. We'll wrap up the game coming up next here with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You can tune in to Kickoff with Boomer Esiason and Mike Valenti every week. Boomer and Valenti preview the entire slate of NFL games. Analysis from Boomer, picks from Mike. The biggest stories in the league packed into an hour Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. here on 97.3 The Fan, and always live on the free Odyssey app, presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it, and by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement.
Thank you for that read, man.
All right, we've got all of Jesse's calls from a game that looked like it was going to get out of hand. And instead, surprise, surprise, Padres pull off their biggest comeback of the season against none other than the Los Angeles Dodgers last night.
Bunch of grinders on this Padres team, man. Just grinding it out last night.
Late into
Don't
the
count
night.
us out.
Never
baby.
count us out, buddy.
You get to all the highlights in our Padres wrap-up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Kia of Carlsbad. A couple of crashes on Sept on 15 in the North County. One is right before Deer Springs Road. It's over the right shoulder. Another crash up ahead at West Bernardo. That is over to the right shoulder. With a huge selection of new Kias in stock, they're sure to have the Kia of your dreams. They're right off the 5 freeway in the heart of Carlsbad. Or shop online at premierkiaofcarlsbad.com. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Let's go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner.
It's about damn time.
Runner on second, one away for Juan Soto. First pitch swinging, line drive into left field and a base hit. Chris Taylor charges, bobbles, is never going to get Kim. Now Soto trying for two, the throw and the tag, he's out. Kim comes in to score, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the first inning. Avila out of the windup deals, and the 0-2 to Betts, hit in the air to very deep left field. Towards the pole, this one off the screen, a home run. Leadoff homer for Mookie Betts. Here's the 3-1. Muncy swings, skies one to deep right field. Fernando going back, he's going to watch it, and this one way up into the pavilion. Long home run, Max Muncy, his 35th of the year. And the Dodgers hop right back in front. It's 3-2. Painted pony time. The carousel will be on the move. Here's the 3-2. That's lined at deep left center. Grisham back into the gap. He's at the wall, and a fan reached over the wall, and that'll be a double. 2-1 now. Gavin Stone delivers, and Manny hits it a really long way out to left center, and that is gone. A home run right over the wall in left center. Just a laser. Skies it towards the right field corner. Hayward's going back. He's looking up. Gonna go! Second home run of the night for Machado. And we've got ourselves a one-run game here in the sixth inning. Delivers, and Batten lines it sharply into center field. Outman has to play it on a hop. Now it bounces behind him. First run, Profar comes in to score. That'll tie the game. Batten scrambles into second base. And it's 7-7 here in the sixth. Here's the 1-2. Soto swings, hits it in the air to very deep right field. Betts is going back. He's at the wall. Gonna go! 3-run homer, Juan Soto. And the Padres have come all the way back. They lead for the first time since it was 1-0 in the first. Ahead 10-7 in the ninth. 0-1 to Bogarts in the air deep down the right field line. Betts is over, not going to get there, and that is a home run! Into the first row, tucked up against the foul pole, and opposite field poke for Bogarts, and the Padres, with their second homer of the inning, extend the lead. It's 11-7. 3-2 to Taylor. Hader delivers, and a line drive right to Bogarts. He makes the catch, and the ball game is over. A wild night in Los Angeles ends with an 11-8 Padre win.
Good. We haven't seen that in a while, and I've said often that we have the ability to do that.
Good.
So it was nice to be able to come back after being down big and 3 spot in the 6th was huge. Obviously 4 in the 9th, and Juan's swing was even bigger. But it's something we've been lacking a little bit this year.
Poor Bob. He's been saying all season long, well, we have the ability to come back in games like that, score a bunch of runs in bunches.
Allegedly.
And yet they never did it. And now finally on September 11th, they come back from 5 runs to win a game against the Dodgers. 11-8 last night as the Padres do end up winning for the 6th time in their last 10 games. I know it doesn't necessarily feel like that, but they have a above 500 record over their last 10 games.
Satisfying.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Satisfying.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Now, the things that really matter in yesterday's game.
Love that fight.
Like, the one thing I said that I'm looking forward to watching is how Pedro Avila competes against, the LA Dodgers. Can he show that he's got the stuff to maybe join a rotation? And
no, the answer is no.
And it wasn't a great audition necessarily, because you have to be able to do better against the teams like that in your division.
I think
if the Padres are going to rely on you potentially to be a starter next season, it's okay. It's great to go and throw 4 innings of 1-run ball against a lesser team, but if the Dodgers are going to torch you for 7 runs and 6 hits and 2 2/3 innings, then you've got a long way to go.
I think we as a fan base, myself massively included, we got to stop handing out rotation spots after like 2 good appearances, because I know I'm as guilty as hell of it. I know I'm see a guy have string 2 good games together.
Starters. We don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
have
just
a choice right
well,
now.
No, I get it.
Not putting him in. I mean, like, counting on him in the future.
Correct.
Like, okay, yeah.
Anointing them.
No, not this season.
Giving
Next
them
season.
a position for next.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, Paulie, this season, it's all
it's
hands on
also
deck.
not fair to just throw him away after one lousy start against a good Dodgers team.
No, they're a good team. But again, I need to employ next season, as we cover this team again, I need to employ a little bit more let's wait and see attitude. And it's hard to do when you have to talk about him every single day. But yeah, it was not a good run by him. Bullpen was fantastic last night, though. They really were. And you're starting to see some guys emerge. And again, not gonna pencil anybody into any spots next year. But I think guys like Tom Cosgrove, I think what Luis Garcia has been able to do since he had a horrific start to the season, dude's been unbelievable, man, in the last month or so.
Of course, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
Perfect.
So
Cool,
do you
cool,
re-sign Luis Garcia based on what he's done over his last, 15 appearances that have been really solid?
Really good.
I don't know if you do or not. Now, Robert Suarez looked a little more Robert Suarez-like last night, coming off of his sticky stuff suspension. He was eligible to return and had a really nice 8th inning. Josh Hader, he struggled in the 9th. I mean, if you were up at the end of the game,
pitches.
There were certainly moments you thought the Padres were going to blow that 4-run lead they had just taken. They had the winning run at the plate at the end of the game. And Chris Taylor's line out off the bat, if you're watching on television, I was convinced that was heading into the gap and, might tie it, at least was going to pull it within 1 run, but it just fluttered into Xander Bogaerts' glove, and the game was finally over mercifully. Not that we're that stressed anymore about outcomes, but it would have been very Padres-like to find a way to score 4 in the top of the 9th and then give up 5 in the bottom of the 9th to lose that game. I don't even know. When was Hader's last save?
His last appearance was September 3rd.
Right, but that wasn't a save.
That wasn't a save.
He has. The Padres don't win games by 1, 2, or usually 3 runs. That wasn't a save situation last night. He came in a 4-run game, so didn't get a save, even though he did close out the game. Had one chance and blew it, I believe, recently. It's just, he's not been used enough for what he is capable of doing, and while the numbers will show, had another all-star good season. The Padres didn't get the most out of Josh Hader this year, and he's been scuffling definitely a little bit here in the second half of the year for sure.
Man, and you hate to. He is a really, really great closer when he's locked in, and his numbers, like you said, will look good. He's not the only one. I mean, you look, Paulie and I were talking about it, Benny, before you got in. You see some OPSs absolutely climbing to that 800 mark. Soto's almost at 900. He's at 888. Manny, 775. 800 OPS is a very respectable number. Fernando, 773. Sanchez is done for the year. He's 792. Ha-Seong Kim's 777. Xander Bogaerts, 766. So, again, you will look at the end of the year and go, and you fear that the players will be like, well, I mean, I got my numbers. I hit my 30.
Manny and Tatis, they can't be happy with anything that starts with a 7. Yeah, it's
Right.
not. It's not bad. It's better than league average, but those are supposed to be superstar guys.
No
those
question.
are guys
those are 900.
Got to be
guys.
in the 800s, and when they're having a really good season, they're flirting with 900 on the OPS. So they've definitely had down years. Even though some of the numbers, Manny got his 27th and 28th home runs yesterday. The overall numbers are down for those guys, and that's a big reason why the Padres have not had the success that they anticipated. Now, I am baffled by, Manny looks like one day shut him down for the season.
Yeah.
He's got the elbow, he can't play the field. Why are we even throwing him out there? And then he hits 2 home runs in a game. It's a very strange situation that they're managing that we don't really know a lot of the details in terms of, is this something that can affect him long term? Is he going to need surgery or not in the offseason? As we've talked about before, Manny is very tight-lipped when it comes to how he's feeling, what aches and pains, what injuries he might be playing through. But it's something the Padres will clearly have to be addressing this offseason, because if they want to do anything, they've got to make sure Manny's in as tip-top shape as possible when they show up next year to, try to figure out what went wrong this season.
I got to tell you, man, it's going to really stick in my craw a lot if spring training rolls around and that elbow's barking. It's not mad at Manny personally, but at some point, decisions have to be made. We talked about it yesterday. Prudent decisions have to be made, and nobody wants to wave the white flag, but who are we kidding, man? I understand, and he said yesterday, hey, look, until we're mathematically out of it, I want to be in there when I can. It's a coin flip. I wake up, I don't know how I'm going to feel. I respect that. I respect the hell out of that guy for playing hurt the majority of the time. But, man, if we get
But it better not impact next year.
But if we get to February and March and it's like, well, man, he's still dealing with an elbow, there's no excuse for that. None. There's no excuse for that. These are absolutely empty games, empty numbers, all of it. Shut the mother down, get ready for next year, and let's go win a World Series next year. Get your head right. Get back to neutral, whatever you got to do. And if it requires, them to go in and stitch it up a little bit, so be it.
Yeah,
man.
I don't know. Maybe shutting it down now will do nothing. And he just,
That can't be, though.
Yeah, not necessarily. As long as he's listening to what the doctors and the trainers are recommending, that's fine. You don't know. You can't say that, they're telling Manny, you really should shut it down, and he's going, no, I want to play.
No, I don't know that. I don't know that. But I do know if you have an achy elbow, what I wouldn't do is play in a meaningless game.
There are certainly injuries where the doctors will say, yeah, we're going to need to clean that up at the end of the season. You can
play through it.
You'll be about 4 weeks of rehab, and you'll be fine to start next year. You can play through it right now. You're not going to make it any worse.
Okay.
If you can play through the pain. There are injuries that are like that.
But
you're not threatening your career every time you go out there.
But
You're just playing through some discomfort, and then they'll say, yeah, but it'll be fine. We'll take care of it in the offseason.
But aren't you risking something bigger? Aren't you risking rolling your ankle again? Risking?
Every game you play as an athlete,
Sure.
see Aaron Rodgers, you're risking something.
But
when you go out
that
there.
game mattered. That game absolutely
right.
mattered.
But-
This game does not. Tonight's game does not matter.
But
it is no.
you can't just shut everybody down and just say, well, we're not going to play any more
Well,
of
I
the
didn't
games.
say shut everybody down. I said shut the hurt guys down. If the hurt guys are hurt,
As Manny
what
will tell you,
point?
no one's 100% at this point.
Exactly.
So you're shutting everybody down.
No,
You're shutting
not
the hurt
everybody.
guys
I'm
down.
talking about the guys that can't play third base because their elbow hurts.
If Joe Musgrove says he can pitch, give you 2 outings to end the
No,
season.
absolutely
I agree.
not.
Well, no, I
course
agree
not.
with that.
Absolutely not.
So what's the difference?
There's no difference. I'm not saying hey, Sugar, are you sore? All right, you're shut down.
Juan's got his finger
His hand,
thing.
yep.
Tatis is still
He probably should be
dealing
getting
with
some days off.
dealing with the shoulder. You could shut everybody. You could probably come up with a valid excuse to shut just about everybody down.
Tatis is in right field every night. Soto's in left field every night. Manny cannot play third base. Matt Batten plays third base now. Why? And I don't know. Is there one person in the fan base that would go, this guy's just stealing money, man, on the IL, or shut him down for the season? We got like.
When was the last time Manny played in the field?
Bro, 100%. Seriously, there's just, for me, he's so important.
I admire the hell out of it.
Have we not seen? Is your big theory this year? How Manny goes, we go. Let's get you as close to 100 as we can before April 3rd next year. Like, it will absolutely infuriate me if we get there and they're like, well, that old elbow injury's barking again for Manny. I'm gonna lose my mind if that happens. There's no reason. I mean, I understand the pride in wanting to play. I do. I really do. I like to be here. I don't like to be homesick. I like to be here as well. I do feel like I'm letting people down when I stay homesick. Sometimes it's for the greater good, though. It's for the greater good. And next season is all we've got to look forward to. There's nothing that matters about this year. Nothing. As much as it sucks, but that's just the case. Man, if we're in the playoff hunt or we're even, 4 games back, I'm like, oh, man, I really tip my hat to you for going out there and busting it, hitting 2 bombs last night. But, bro, I just want you healthy for next season. He's so valuable to this team when he's healthy.
Well, I agree with you. I just don't know enough of the circumstances to know whether that's a warranted concern or that's an overblown, statement of what he's dealing with. If the doctors say
if he can't play third, that's my big red flag.
Yeah, I mean, you got tennis elbow. You're going to need to shut it down for 6 weeks before it's ever
and you'll have 6 weeks
healthy again. But if you're going to have 6 weeks at the end of the season, man, I said, well, we'll just do it at the end of the season.
I get it, man. I get it, and it's not this isn't an indictment on him at all. It's just, what are we playing for? Is it pride? Is it numbers? Is it leadership? I really don't know, but I'd like my leader to come back healthy and ready to rock next year. Now, the guy could be walking in from the parking lot, tripping, break his arm next year. You never know what's going to happen. But I do know that if we get to March and April next year and he can't make a throw across the diamond, boy.
Yeah, and if it's something he could have addressed now, absolutely.
We'd be livid.
Of course.
Livid.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. All guests on Bennett Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. I mean, you will not get more tragedy, humor, drama, thrills than you saw in last night's Monday Night Football game.
Everything.
We'll talk a little bit more about that, play some Take on Woods when we come back next here on 97.3 The Fan. think we've got a good argument here in San Diego that some of the worst sports luck happens to us.
Yeah.
Over the years,
or lack of luck.
We have plenty of evidence in our favor. But Jets fans certainly have a strong case that just nothing good is allowed to happen to the Jets. There's been so much excitement. I mean, the anticipation for months and months of Aaron Rodgers' debut last night on Monday Night Football on 9/11. The scene in MetLife Stadium last night was when
Unreal.
The Aaron Rodgers came out holding the American flag in that stadium, you know, in the shadow of Manhattan there on 9/11.
Him coming out by himself.
Crazy.
And just the
All the-
stadium
all the
goes dark
green.
with the green and the spotlight on him as he was running out with the flag. And you're like, bro, he's like their savior for this year.
Yep.
It was awesome.
It was.
And it lasted 3 minutes.
4 plays.
He played, it was the fourth snap. He had two handoffs, one incomplete pass, and was sacked on the fourth play that led to what the Jets do believe is a torn Achilles. It will be confirmed probably today by an MRI, but doctors say that's a very easy one to diagnose. They actually showed in like intense close-ups, you can see the back of his calf like bolt pop out like
At
bolts.
first, I couldn't see it. I saw people talking about it. I'm like, I don't see it.
A ripple.
And then I looked even closer. I go,
and there are different grades of how bad it can be, but very little chance that Aaron Rodgers will be able to come back this season. And it was like they sucked all the air out of MetLife Stadium all at once. I mean, it turned into a mausoleum in that place, and
For good reason.
as you'd expect.
I mean, it's
There's
like
no fault of the fans.
I mean, imagine, like when we got Tatis back or something, and I know the season hasn't gone great, but imagine getting him back. He gets one AB, fouls one off the inside of his foot, and it breaks his leg. I mean, you're just like, you got to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me.
It's Christmas morning. Your kids have been waiting all month for Santa to arrive, and they walk down on Christmas morning. There's nothing there.
Nothing.
Just the tree is bare. There are no presents. The Grinch has taken it all. I mean, that's the feeling that the New York Jets fans got yesterday. It was all the anticipation, all waiting for the one moment, and it was all taken away from them in one fell swoop.
I mean, so freaking soon.
Now, you can try to rationalize and say they won the game. The defense certainly, looked like a championship, potentially, defense.
Josh Allen helped them look really, really good.
He had a very bad game. Some
He
bad
was
decisions. 3 interceptions and a fumble. But
who's the guy that caught all the picks?
Desmond, what's his name? All 3 interceptions by number 3 last night for the New York Jets.
So he had a clause, an incentives clause, Ben, in his contract that if he got 3 interceptions on the season, he made an extra $500,000.
Nice.
He got it in the first
That's incredible.
freaking game. The first game. Knocked that out. Josh Allen just he is so frustrating to watch because rarely do you see a guy with that size, that speed, that arm. He's been in the league long enough to know. Like, you see it. He's running to the sideline. And then something goes off in his head. He's like, if I go out of bounds, I'm soft. If I slide, I'm soft. You're not. You're prolonging your career.
The coach was not happy. Sean McDermott was not happy with Josh Allen and the chances he would take.
He took
be smart. He gets head. You got to be smarter.
He took so many unnecessary hits last night. So a dozen unnecessary hits, not sliding when he should have slid. He tried he's 7 yards short of the first down marker, and he tries to jump over everybody, and it's just like, Josh, it doesn't make you weak, man, to be smart. And you don't need to lower your head against those guys coming full steam at you, man. You're more valuable under center and in the shotgun slinging passes for that team. And 4 turnovers on the game for him was
And I
brutal.
think the Jets will win some games based on their defense. Even if Zach Wilson remains the quarterback, there's talk that they may try to trade for like Gardner Minshew, a backup that
I saw Flacco, Minshew. I heard.
I actually have odds. You can bet on who will be the
I
guy
heard
that
Philip
they go out
Rivers'
and
name
trade.
mentioned yesterday. I mean,
I heard Blake Bortles, who knows Nathaniel Hackett pretty well, and they've worked together before.
Nick
Imagine
Foles.
that.
Nick Foles is the favorite
Yeah.
at 3-1, followed by Colt McCoy 4-1, Taysom Hill, Davis Mills, Carson Wentz.
I mean, none of
I don't think
those-
any of those guys saves the season. Now the Jets have enough talent; they're going to win some games. But
Tom
you saw
Brady.
yesterday,
Tom
even
Brady.
with 4 turnovers, Zach Wilson was only able to lead 1 touchdown drive, and that took one of the greatest catches you'll ever see by Garrett Wilson just to get that 1 touchdown out of all of those turnovers.
I saw a tweet.
It was unbelievable.
I saw a tweet that said Garrett Wilson just intercepted Zach Wilson because the throw was so bad. He had to go up. He had to tip it away from the DB and then into his hands.
Then tip it back to himself, and then catch it
and then
falling
fall on
down.
his
It was an
back.
incredible catch, but it took all of that just to get to, 1 touchdown in the game. And of course, they got the second one on a punt return in overtime. But you had the doink in that went
Holy
in
cow.
off the upright to force overtime, which was the comedy, I thought, of the night. I mean, the Jets fans at that point, their stomachs, I mean, there's probably like retching and vomiting in the stands at that point, thinking
The guy
not
with the
only are we
finger.
losing Aaron Rodgers, we're going to lose this game too, somehow in the end, in overtime, in incredibly painful fashion. So I'm glad for Jets fans that they got to at least enjoy a great story, the punt return by the undrafted rookie, Xavier Gipson, to end the game, and they can walk out of that stadium and give everybody a high five for one night. They are no longer championship contenders. And I don't know that there's anything they can do about that the rest of this season.
They full on won the battle, but they're going to lose the war. I mean, they won that battle last night, but the war is out of reach for them with Zach Wilson as their quarterback. It really is, and no offense to him, they just have not picked them. They have not picked good quarterbacks in New York in forever. So you hate to think about wasting this phenomenal, nasty defense this season. But yeah, maybe it's an old Buccaneers situation. Remember Trent Dilfer quarterbacked that team to a Super Bowl. We've seen guys that are kind of middling, but I think they were all a little bit better.
I don't
than
think
Zach
there's
Wilson.
anyone even of Trent Dilfer's caliber
No kidding.
out there right now.
Joe Flacco.
We need a contestant for Take on Woods, 833-288-0973. Your last chance this week before Woodsy heads off to Chicago. If you want to try to qualify for a trip to Vegas, here's your shot to take down the champ. 833-288-0973. Actually had a tie and a qualifier yesterday, so you can do it, but you got to call in now. What a change, though, in the AFC. Just in the first week of the season, and granted, the first week doesn't tell you the entire story for the year, but, Chiefs lost, surprisingly. I think they'll be okay. They'll figure out, they'll get Travis Kelce back, but Joe Burrow looked horrible. Josh Allen looked really bad. Chargers lose, their defense falls apart against the Miami Dolphins, and the Jets lose Aaron Rodgers. I mean, those are 5 of your, major preseason contenders, all with giant glaring alarm bells going off after week 1 of the season. And I'm sure a couple of those teams will figure it out and fix it. But that is not what we expected, in week 1 of the season in the AFC, which was supposed to be the deepest, the loaded conference. I'm sure the Miami Dolphins are feeling pretty good right now. Like, we didn't lose anyone big. We put up some points. They're feeling very good coming out of that first week of the season.
Yeah, Chris Jones reworked his deal. He'll be back with the Chiefs. So, they're the one that I'm not too worried about because they have health.
The Chiefs lost, but they actually won in week 1.
Yeah, they're fine.
They lost the game, but they saw so many contenders come up with serious, significant problems that I don't think the Chiefs really have. They'll figure out, they'll catch some passes.
Yeah, no question.
They didn't lose their quarterback. They're going to get 2 stars back now, probably in their next game with Kelce and Jones. Not so worried about the Chiefs.
No, they'll be fine.
But it was a weird first week of the season. All right, it is time. Let's get to today's game of Take on Woods. We got Ralph on the line. Ralph, welcome to Take on Woods. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Have you played our game before?
Okay. How are you? I'm okay. How are you?
Good. All right. He knows the show, that's for sure. All right. You've got a chance to take down Woods in 5 questions. of musical trivia. You beat or tie him, we will put you into our grand prize monthly drawing for 2 nights at the Westgate and a $250 food and beverage credit at the Westgate Superbook. You're going to have a great time. You head down there, check out their $70 million in room renovations. The Westgate, Las Vegas Race and Sportsbook, home of legendary Vegas fun. You get to pick our category here. Ralph, here are your choices. We've got title, yes. Lyrics, no. Same one as we did last week. It's a title of a song that doesn't appear anywhere in the lyrics. Lost and Found, those are 5 songs that include either the word lost or found in the title. And our new category is song sequels. Those are questions all about songs that are or have sequels, kind of like movies. So of those 3, title, yes, lyrics, no, Lost and Found, or song sequels. What would you like to play, Ralph?
All right, let's go Lost and Found.
Lost and Found. Okay, not a shocker here, but 5 songs that include either the word lost or the word found in the title. You'll have 60 seconds, Ralph. If you don't know an answer, you can say pass. We can come back to it. There's usually a little time left on the clock if we move quickly. The first questions are 2-second song. Paulie's going to play a well-known hit, couple of seconds of it. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point, and we'll go on from there. Ralph, you understand how it works?
Let's do it.
All right, Woodsy's gone. 60 seconds on the clock. Paul, you ready? All right, your time begins.
Let's do it.
Remember the category, Lost and Found. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Ralph. Let's take on Woods.
Still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Correct. Rihanna and featured artist Calvin Harris did what in a hopeless place in a 2011 mega hit?
Found love in a hopeless place.
That's correct. Which Righteous Brothers hit does Maverick sing to try and impress Charlie during their first bar meeting in Top Gun?
Pass.
Before they were all out of love, Air Supply had their first major hit 1 year earlier with which song with a similar sounding title?
Pass on that one.
The Fray followed up How to Save a Life with which 2009 hit that was originally titled Amistad?
Found. Pass. Go back.
Which Righteous Brothers hit does Maverick sing to try and impress Charlie during their first bar meeting in Top Gun? Time is up. All right, you got the first 2. I still haven't found what I'm looking for by U2 and We Found Love. Hey, She's Lost That Love and Feeling.
She's lost it, Goose.
That's the Righteous Brothers hit.
I hate it when she does that.
Lost in Love is the Air Supply hit before All Out of Love. And You Found Me is the Fray after How to Save a Life.
I don't think 2 is going to get the
Probably
job
not.
done.
We'll see. Woodsy, see if he ends his short week with a win or not. Ralph, hang on the line. You never know. All right, Ralph's score is locked in. Woodsy doesn't get the category. This could be a tricky one to figure out. 60 seconds on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Ralph.
Still haven't found what I'm looking for, U2.
Correct. Rihanna and featured artist Calvin Harris did what in a hopeless place in a 2011 mega hit?
Found Love?
Correct. Which Righteous Brothers hits does Maverick sing to try and impress Charlie during their first bar meeting in Top Gun?
You've Lost That Loving Feeling.
Correct. Before they were all out of love, Air Supply had their first major hit 1 year earlier with which song with a similar sounding title?
Pass.
The Fray followed up How to Save a Life with which 2009 hit that was originally titled Amistad?
No idea. These nuts.
Before they were all out of love, Air Supply had their first major hit 1 year earlier with which song with a similar sounding title?
All Out of Taint.
No, Lost in Love.
Lost in Love.
And You Found Me by The Fray, which is the category was Lost and Found. You got 3. Ralph got 2.
Ooh.
Sneaks
Barely.
out the win. Ralph, you can
out.
try again later this month. Thank you for playing. But Woodsy gets the win today in the category Lost and Found.
Thank you, sir.
Here on Take on Woods.
Feels good.
We got
a dub.
We've got some fun audio coming up next on Don't Do This, don't we?
Yes.
Well, we've got an inappropriate 9/11 tie-in from yesterday.
People just can't help themselves.
Correct.
On 9/11.
Saw the notification. So and so apologizes for tasteless 9/11 comments. post.
We've had enough.
You go.
It's been
We've-
22 years.
it's
but
been
we
22
should learn
years.
by
And
now what is okay and what is
it's
not
like
okay.
the guy. It's like the guy saying, I mean, Hitler wasn't all bad. Like we see that at least once or twice a year, right? Please don't take that and clip that out of context, Paulie. You see it once or twice a year. You're like, buddy, that's just a name that you don't invoke. 9/11. Let's not do bits. Bits are bad on 9/11. Really.
Don't Do This is coming up next. We'll be back with more Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Want to stay connected with Ben and Woods all week long? Give us a follow in the Odyssey app. For easy access to clips, show reminders, and more, simply download the Odyssey app and follow Ben and Woods to listen to us no matter where you are. Feel like earlier in the year, we had this the discussion about whether it's okay to say have a happy Memorial Day weekend or have a happy Memorial Day.
Yeah, you
Happy
said
Veterans Day.
Yeah, I mean,
You said Happy Memorial Day.
I did.
Yeah.
I did, and
Right.
you dragged me for it.
Yeah, you got dragged.
But at least we didn't go this far. Time for Don't Do This. Stories that make you shake
This is
your head.
unreal.
We've seen this in previous years as well. People who use 9/11 as some sort of gimmick, as though it's Flag Day or Arbor Day
Right.
or some other non-consequential holiday.
Sure.
And it's been 22 years now, but it's still very fresh in most of our minds. Anyone who was alive then, this isn't
Department stores shouldn't be having sales or anything like that.
9/11
yeah,
sale.
this isn't like something like D-Day that was long ago,
Right.
and it's time changes.
Even that.
things.
You still
that
don't
is
want to
not.
do, D-Day, television sale or something.
Yesterday's winner of the worst 9/11 tie-in has to be DraftKings, who put up what they called it their
Oh, God.
their never forget parlay. Bet on these New York teams to win tonight on 9/11. Mets against Arizona, Yankees against the Red Sox, Jets against Buffalo, plus 651 odds. I mean, they called it a never forget parlay.
The never forget parlay.
As you can imagine, DraftKings got dragged. They released an apology. We sincerely apologize for the featured parlay that was shared briefly in commemoration of 9/11. We respect the significance of this day for our country, and especially for the families of those who were directly affected. Was that a winning parlay, by the way?
I don't think so.
Jets won.
Jets won.
But the Mets did
I
not.
think the Mets
I don't think
lost.
The Mets did not win.
Yeah. It's that one's really bad, but nothing tops last year's menu that the country club in Stafford, Virginia had, and I retweeted it yesterday because I still can't believe it exists. But
It seems fake.
It actually was real. The clubhouse at Aqua Harbor did a Patriot Day 2022 Seafood Sunday, and here are some of the dishes that they listed. $29.77 chowder, which is creamy crab and corn with bacon.
That's the number of people who
Correct.
died.
Right. The Flight 93 Redirect, which is a hot crab dip with crostini. The First Responder Flatbread, 9/11 Oysters, Freedom Flounder, Pentagon Pie. And then wash it all down with a delicious, refreshing Remember Teeny, which is key lime, rum cream, coconut rum, pineapple juice, splash of cream.
First of all, that's a horrific drink just to
Horrific.
begin with.
7,000 calories in the Remember Teeny.
I feel bad about laughing because it's
just
so
unbelievable.
inappropriate, but it's so unbelievably toned up.
I would-
Pentagon pie.
I'm going to have the First Responder Flatbread. My wife will have the 9/11 Oysters and a couple of Remember Teenies for sure. And then got to have the Pentagon Pie, chocolate silk pie for $4. Good bargain. The
Do
Never
they at
Forget
least cut it
Sampler.
in with like 5
It
sides.
looks like
on
a
the
pie, dude. I mean, it's a piece of pie. The Never Forget Sampler. 2 cups of chowder, Flight 93 Redirect crab. It's just one of each, pretty much. That's only $50. Eats and drinks for 2. They apologized for
I
that.
remember when we talked about
It was
this.
it's unbelievable.
It's still unbelievable.
Every year, I'm going to go back and look at that menu and be like, wow. Can't believe
Somebody
it.
approved that.
This is so last night too. Was flipping a little bit back and forth between the Manning cast and the regular broadcast. And I will say this:
I watched a hell of a lot more Manning cast than I did.
Peyton Manning has grown on me a little bit. Number one, he knows more about the quarterback position than any human being on the planet. He's brilliant. I mean, he's a brilliant
I
analyst.
appreciated last night. I didn't watch a ton of it, but he was like legitimately reacting like the rest of us.
Like a fan.
Yeah.
He could, when Aaron Rodgers went down, he went, oh, my, hands on his head. And then Zach Wilson, he was like disgusted watching him play. I want you to listen to, here's what's missing from the Manning cast. A number 2, a good number 2. Eli is not it. He's not it. Listen to this.
The final play of the game.
Listen to the electric call.
65-yard punt return,
Yes.
overtime.
Walk off. Listen to this electricity.
You've got to be kidding me. Walk-off punt return to win the game in overtime.
This place is going crazy.
Paulie didn't slow that down.
Nope.
At all.
Nope.
You gotta be kidding me.
You gotta be kidding me.
Walk-off punt return.
Walk-off punt return to win the game in overtime.
He sounds like he's half dead.
I mean, Peyton's a smart guy. I'm surprised he hasn't upgraded to a better brother at this point.
What's the other guy's name?
Cooper.
Is he any better?
I don't know. But
This
just
place
hire
is
someone.
going
This
crazy.
place is going crazy. Literally anybody else. You can find a guy off the street that could do better.
Exactly.
Eli
I mean,
is-
anyone would be happy to play the role of Peyton's brother
Or
on
just
ESPN
just
too.
Peyton's sidekick. I mean, it's just horrific.
Yeah, there's no law that says
you don't have
you
to.
have to do it
No,
with Eli.
You don't.
You could just say, sorry, we're not going to do it with you. We're going to actually pick a real co-host for this show.
Walk
not
off,
Eli Manning.
Punt return.
All right, I'll do the do this. We'll do the opposite
mega doo-doo.
of that laconic.
Very laconic.
I mean, I know he's not doing play-by-play, but how about a touch of excitement?
Something. Anything.
Give us anything.
But if you want excitement, let's listen to Bob Wischusen, radio voice of the New York Jets. And boy,
Bro,
did they
NFL broadcasters.
If anyone
nail it.
deserved it last night, it was Jets fans. Something good to happen after what was got to be one of the more disappointing nights in NFL history. At least it ended with a bang. Here was the call on the Jets radio network.
Low snap. And getting away, a line drive kick is Sam Martin. Gibson runs under it at the Jet 35. Starts to his left, gets to the 40, turns the corner at the 45-50. Blockers in front at the 40, at the Bills 30, inside the 20. Stutter steps to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown! It's a Jet touchdown! This game is over!
That's how it's done,
That
my
is
friend. That
outstanding.
is how
So
it
good.
is done.
Now, it was pointed out very quickly, good job by the television crew, that there was a penalty that was
There
missed.
was the
There
leg
was
whip.
A leg whip
Yes.
block that may have prevented a tackle. Now, it happened around, it was like between the 25, I think, and 30-yard line. So had they thrown the flag, would have been 10 yards from there. They would have had the ball around the 35 to the 40. So
Would
not,
a field goal have won? It
yeah,
would
it would have won it because
Would've
they'd
won it,
already
yeah.
punted, but it was not like in gimme range.
Yeah.
And would you have trusted Zach Wilson to move the ball even an inch down the field closer, not lose yardage? You know, would you have kicked right away a 50-yarder, or would you have tried to see if you can run the ball at least 3 or 4 times?
You got
and
Greg
then-
the leg, man.
and
So
then you were going to have to just count on making a field goal. Maybe they would have won
Phenomenal.
anyway if they had thrown that penalty flag, but it would have been at least a little dicey at that point.
Yeah, and Aikman and Buck with the asterisk call at the end. That's the second game that's ended. Tirico did it after the Chiefs lost. So, well, this game comes with an asterisk because they didn't have Travis Kelce. I'm like, asterisk? There's no asterisks in NFL. Yeah, they miss calls all the time. And by the way, guys get injured all the time as well. So I don't know what this new bit is with broadcasters, but I don't like it very much. And they've done it now 2 huge games in a row.
Was it because of the penalty?
Yeah,
or
the penalty, I
It
think.
was. It wasn't
Yeah.
because, well, it's a win, but it's also a huge
No,
loss for the New York
I think
Jets.
it
It
was 'cause
comes
of-
with an asterisk.
Well, maybe it was. I thought it was the penalty.
I wasn't sure because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. This win comes with
Yeah.
a big asterisk.
It's the winning a battle, but absolutely you're going to lose the war.
That to me, that would have been an appropriate reference
For
And
sure.
That is don't and do this for Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Speaking of don't do this, a lot of Padres fans were accusing one Fernando Tatis Jr. of a don't do this move.
Cleatgate. Did it work?
In something that was reported yesterday, but honestly, I'm not sure what exactly happened on the field, but we got some great comments.
We did.
We'll tell you about it. What if you missed it? What at least Fernando Tatis Jr. was reportedly supposed to be wearing up in Los Angeles. Maybe he still will, but a lot of Padres fans were unhappy. Others said they had no problem with it. Some said, great, I love to see it.
fantastic.
It really had a lot of different reactions from Padres fans. If you're unaware of this story, we'll explain it to you coming up next year with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This Hour on the Fan is brought to you by BalancePro.org. Are you worried about the rising costs of managing your home expenses? Balance can help you decide if a refinance is right for you. Help you avoid predatory lending. Call to schedule an appointment at 1-888-456-2227 or visit BalancePro.org. Kobe cleats. That's what we're talking about this segment on Ben and Woods. Cleatgate. There's a couple of twists, though, involving Fernando Tatis Jr. We will give you some of your thoughts, which were really interesting on the subject, right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Got a handful of hot spots here. Westbound King Freeway at College Avenue. Collision being moved over to the right shoulder. Up ahead, right before the 5, another crash. This one has been moved over to the right shoulder. Car and semi involved in a crash on northbound 5 before 28th Street. There over the right shoulder. And southbound 15 just before the 5. Collision over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I saw the tweet yesterday promoted by people like Darren Rovell, John Boy, that the company Stadium Custom Kicks had provided Fernando Tatis Jr. with some very blinged out cleats to wear this week in Los Angeles. And it just so happens that they are Lakers gold and purple with studded with like thousands of crystals. To honor Kobe Bryant, the number 24 on the back of one, the number 8 on the back of the other. I mean, they're spectacular looking cleats.
They really are.
To be sure. And Fernando Tatis Jr. is far from the only big time athlete who, is in the custom cleat game. Whether he's passionate about it or his people say, "Hey, this is a good idea. We'll hook you up with this company. They're going to give you some shoes. It's good. It's good for you. It's good for them." I don't know exactly how it works, but there are a number of athletes who have taken their shoe game, to the stratosphere in recent years. Just kind of part of being a major pro star in a number of different sports.
Well, our man Snellzilla. I mean, the dude with his Snellzilla
his
cleats.
His is an authentic passion for sure.
100%.
I don't know whether Tatis is as passionate as Snell is, but he certainly wears some amazing shoes.
And they've almost exclusively been Jordan 1s.
Yeah. No, I mean that's his sponsor. He's a Jordan guy, right?
I don't think so.
Is he not?
I don't think it's official.
Really?
But because Adidas dropped him, and he's just been rocking these
just because he likes them.
Yeah, I mean, like he looks good in anything. You know what I mean? Like you can put anything on that kid, and he looks like he was made for it. My initial reaction was Dodger loving immediately. That was my immediate reaction. Now, again, I told you guys know there's a little boomer who lives inside me. He's in there, tries to come out sometimes. But then I was like, I don't care. Wear whatever you want. Who cares? We're out of the race. I want to win a World Series. I couldn't care less what a dude wears on his feet in a game. Honestly, like there's a lot of different takes that I saw yesterday. Some of them have to do with the, I guess I could say, complicated legacy of one Kobe Bryant, right? The other one is, oh man, what are we repping Laker colors for while we're in Dodger Stadium? Then when he comes up to the plate, I will be honest, I absolutely squinted and was like, is he wearing those? And then I thought to myself, those didn't really look like gamers to me. Those look like I'm going to rock these pre-game. I didn't feel like those were game shoes. I thought it was maybe I'm going to rock these
I
pre-game.
never actually saw them on his feet, whether he wore them pre-game or...
I saw yellow. They were yellow, but I didn't see any purple.
I don't think the ones he wore in the game were these shoes.
Now, did he cave?
I don't know. Or is he going to wear them today? Or is he never going to wear them during the game? I don't know the details on it, but I do know the reaction was pretty wide and varied.
It was
between
split.
Some people, as you said, and I disagree with you. I think there's a difference. I, of course, am a Lakers fan.
Now, hang on.
And I don't think that's Dodger loving. I hate the Dodgers. I am a Lakers fan. Is that how can it be Dodger loving to like a team in a different sport when we don't have a team in that sport in this city? When the Clippers were here, I cheered for the Clippers against my own family. My grandfather worked for the Lakers, but every time the Lakers came down to play the Clippers, I cheered for the Clippers.
You get
here in San Diego.
You know that you and you alone get the grandfather. You're literally grandfather.
But even with that exception, I still cheered for the San Diego team when they were in town. Now they left, and that let me. Then I could just freely cheer for the Lakers 100%, and I have my entire life. But if we got an NBA team, I would gladly
root against the Lakers. Yeah.
root against the Lakers and go back to cheering for a San Diego NBA team. But we don't have one, so I think that's an impossible
Ben,
standard.
you do a great job.
That you can't cheer for a team.
Now I'm going to be out
your
a couple
favorite
days.
Team
Are
in
you
the
guys
sport.
going to have DR on while I'm out?
No,
Because I'm out. They are playing the Dodgers.
Nope.
Paulie says no.
Overruled.
Paulie says no.
All right, here's a question. Trust tree. Would you?
Would I have Dave Roberts on?
Yes. Trust tree. You
I
cannot
will
tell a
remove
lie.
myself.
I mean,
Recuse yourself.
for a
Paul.
hard-hitting interview.
You would.
You know, like
You would
legitimate
do a
questions.
hard-hitting interview with Dave
What-
Roberts.
Would you interview? Is there any other manager in baseball you wouldn't interview?
No.
I mean, we've had Skip Schumacher on.
No.
That's
it.
fine
Yeah.
for you.
That's it.
You wouldn't have any other manager on, though?
I'd have them all on.
You'd have them all except for Dave Roberts. See, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think every manager to me that's a newsworthy interview.
I'm petty.
That's it's good. It should be good for ratings.
I'm
I mean, who
petty.
wouldn't tune in to hear us talk to him?
I don't think I would never need to have Gabe Kapler on our show.
No, I wouldn't either.
That would be interesting, though.
Do you understand what I'm talking about? Just be condescended to the whole time.
It would just
Ben
there'd be no
V-
answers. It would just you guys would ask a question, he'd answer with a question to you, and then you would answer back with a question to him.
Ben v. Gabe Kapler though would be pretty good. But back to the cleats.
The other sentiment going around was that Kobe transcends all, like the athlete. It's not Laker loving, Dodger loving.
Yeah, it's one of those.
The Mamba mentality. I saw a lot of people saying, quite frankly, I wish the Padres.
I
had
did.
Yeah,
I
just an
saw
ounce
that.
of
I saw
Mamba
that.
mentality.
I saw that as
I mean,
well.
yeah, I'd love to see Tatis have a little more of that Kobe championship dog in him.
I mean, the whole 1 through 9.
Not just
not
Tatis.
just Tatis.
But we're talking about Tatis and the shoes. But there were plenty of Padres fans who went the other way
Said
as well.
absolutely not.
Doesn't think he should be wearing them. Some people said, "Yeah, you can wear them, but why do it in L.A.?
Right,
when
right,
you're there."
right.
It seems like that seems like the place you would do it.
Would it be
that's
better
where
or
Kobe
worse if he
played.
did it next Friday against the Cardinals in Petco Park?
It's a good question. It's a
I
good
don't
question.
know.
I don't know. I really don't care. I want runners in scoring position to score. That's what I really care about the most. I want good approaches at the plate. Really don't care what these guys wear. At the end of the day, I don't. I want to win ball games and I want to have a nice long playoff caliber team, a nice sustained run. That's my number one priority. So if he wants to wear Kobe cleats, he can wear Kobe cleats. What did the article say he's planning on wearing them tonight, or he's just
I didn't
planning
see
on
an article at all. All I
wearing
saw
them?
was
the picture,
a tweet.
I
A
just saw
picture
he's
that
going to wear
said
them this week.
This week, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he may show up in them today. I didn't think they were gamers. They might be. The crystals is what did
Probably
it
the
for
most
me.
insane gamers
No question.
ever worn in Major League Baseball.
No question.
I'm not even sure that they're would follow uniform
protocols,
guidelines.
yeah.
I mean, they might be too glinty to wear on a baseball diamond during a game. So
4,750 crystals.
each one put on by hand, one at a time. Crystal. Yeah, they're spectacular shoes, no doubt about that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it just doesn't really move the needle for me much at all. It was funny that you saw some Dodger fans get in their feelings about it, but
So I thought about that. I thought, is he
trolling
Is he
a little
playing
bit?
chess?
Playing a
while
little,
everyone
yeah.
else is playing checkers.
Is he doing a little WWE style?
Because now
on it?
Dodger fans are going to go, wait, do we root for him?
Yeah,
now?
yeah, 100%. Now they do have a plaque memorializing Fernando Tatis Jr.'s home run in Dodger Stadium, which that would bug me. Hey, Max Muncy hit this seat one time at Petco Park. Do we have a Kyle Schwarber plaque
Way
at
up
Petco
there
for
from the
that
playoff home
from
run
that
that he
playoff
hit? Yeah.
bomb? But no, look, man.
I always thought it was really cool back at Qualcomm Stadium. Jack Murphy, when I was growing up, I was there the day Kevin McReynolds hit one so far up into the second deck, like the farthest home run, and they painted the one seat white. That where it landed, and it was always for years. It was always white, and I thought that is so cool. There's the one white seat.
I think in Fenway there's a Ted Williams.
Is there
seat? I can't remember what color it is, but I think there's a Ted Williams seat out there. Look, at the end of the day, man, I did not get super upset about it. I just kind of I rolled my eyes.
What do you think? There were a number of tier ones who said it feels inappropriate with the Padres out of the playoffs. Like, hey, if you're winning, go ahead, have fun,
No,
do
who
the
cares?
shoes, things like that. But when you're, the season's over, this is tone deaf to be promoting shoes and wearing cool, flashy stuff when your team's going nowhere.
So if your team's going nowhere,
you should dial it down and just,
you should
put
just
your head
wear
down and
just regular old cleats.
just wear, plain white Keds.
Right.
These things are planned sometimes months or even years in advance. They're rollouts, and they may have been targeting this particular date to do this promotion all year long. You can't just never plan anything because, well, what if we're 10 games under 500? Then what do we do? And you can't just abandon all your sponsors and say, we can't do this anymore. I know I committed, but we're not playing very well right now, so everything's been canceled. Doesn't work like that in pro sports. People do things in the off season, then videos get released during the season. It doesn't mean that Fernando Tatis Jr. is distracted by his cleats right now. He probably has very little to do with it other than a box in his locker at this point. And hey, can you put these on and we'll take some pictures of it while you're out there warming up or something? It's not a distraction. It's just what happens with professional athletes nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are brands. They have, there's things that happen that irk me sometimes. Sure. That I see, I'm like, oh, cool. We're in the basement and you're promoting your new clothing line. Like, it was the same with the Suaje. Remember, I used to just rip him mercilessly. But, at the end of the day, they are brands. They do have a life outside of baseball. They like shoes. I'm not going to get mad at my superstar player who I love because he likes shoes. Paulie likes shoes. I don't get mad at him.
That's true.
He
likes shoes a lot.
Paulie likes shoes.
Hector says
Have you
in
been
the
distracted from producing this show because of your love of shoes?
Shoes distracted you.
I don't think so.
I feel like it makes you work harder because you want more shoes.
You're damn right.
That's exactly right.
Hector says in the chat, we've been waiting for Tatis to loosen up, let him play, get him back to who he is. I said the
100%.
same thing. We were talking about it with wife girl last night. I said, look, I don't really care. I can see why people are flustered or upset about it, but ultimately, don't we want Tatis to be Tatis?
Yes. Isn't
that ultimately what we want?
I feel like he's been him
Yeah,
all year.
I think so.
I mean,
Just
But I'm
let
saying
him
if
continue to.
bitching and moaning about his shoes would be tampering that down a little bit. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Now he's been struggling.
He's dying.
Badly
They gave him
here.
a hit for that last night.
He
that
had, I
comebacker.
think, what was he like? 0 for 17 or 0
Yeah.
for his last 18 going into that ninth inning at bat. And I will say this. The one thing he had to do there, he had to make contact.
Yep.
He had the go-ahead run at third base, gifted to you by the Dodgers when the outfielders ran into each other on the Trent Grisham fly ball toward the gap. And they moved him over to third, bunt. The Padres, who apparently don't do any of the little things to win games, bunted a runner over to third in the ninth inning. Now, you have to get him in. And what do you have to do? Well, you have to make contact. And
strikeout does not do
against
the job.
a nasty sweeping pitch from Evan Phillips. He's after missing on 2 of them, he managed to make contact. Now, it could have easily been a comebacker with the out at home, but he found a way to make contact, somehow got onto first base, extended the inning, and Juan Soto then followed with the 3-run home run. So the Padres, to their credit, they did enough. They did the little things. They were able to push across the run. So it is in them. It does exist. It's there. They know how to do it.
Oh,
they
we've
can
known
do
that.
it.
No, we actually haven't.
Yeah, we haven't
the comeback,
really.
we haven't
really seen it all year long.
But the ability to put up runs, they absolutely can. Now, what is our prediction for today? Who's on the bump today? Waka against
Lance Lynn.
Now, Lance Lynn,
40 bomb allowing Lance Lynn.
When he got there, he was lights out for a couple starts. He's been putrid since. He's given up a ton of home runs. But the Padres way, score 11 runs, come out the next day a little bit flat. By a little bit, I mean a ton, and can't scratch anything together. He feels like a guy the Padres should absolutely tattoo.
Yeah, he already beat them once.
I know.
After the trade deadline.
Yep, and that's when he was beyond locked in. Again, don't let the theme of, hey, welcome to San Diego, we'll get you right, because that's what's been the theme all year. They've been getting struggling pitchers back on track at an alarming rate. So Lance Lynn's probably got some cobwebs. He's probably thinking about how poorly he's pitched, and he knows he's going to the playoffs. He needs to do well. I know this isn't a playoff team that he's going up against today, Ben, but you still look at the lineup and go, okay, well, these are guys that, for all intents and purposes, should be a playoff team. This is a good test for him, and he wants to come out and throw well. So but history has shown us they're just probably not going to score many runs.
Yeah,
today.
the Dodgers are in an interesting position because these games are almost as meaningless for the Dodgers as they are for the Padres.
Correct.
And when I say that, they're 12 games up on Arizona. I mean, it would take a beyond historic collapse not to win the division. But you think, well, home field advantage, a bye in the first round. They're really not close to either the one. They're 7 games behind Arizona for the best record, but they're 7 games ahead of Milwaukee to get the first round bye and one of the top 2 seeds. So they're almost completely locked in,
yeah,
to where they're going to finish. It's odd that you have this series between a playoff team, a non-playoff team, yet for neither of them do the outcome of these games really probably going to determine anything going forward. It's a weird situation in this series.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's completely.
The Dodgers will almost certainly be the 2nd seed. They will wait and face the winner, likely the Brewers, if they win that first-round series, or the last wild card team, which could still be the Diamondbacks or the Giants or the Marlins or the Reds. That wild card race is still very tight. As of right now, the current 3rd wild card belongs to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yep.
They're a game and a half ahead of the Giants and Marlins and 2 ahead of the Reds in the National League.
But, to say these games don't mean anything, they definitely don't for the San Diego Padres. They don't. It's less than 1% chance. It doesn't mean much at all. But it does mean something to the Dodgers in that, like I just said, Lance Lynn, he's got to get on track. I mean, he's one of your first 3 arms in the playoffs. So I mean, that dude needs to get on track. Their bullpen's got to get going. There's a lot of holes on that team, and I know it's hard to say that looking at their record, but man, I don't see them going super far in October. Knock on wood. But nothing would surprise me after this season. Literally nothing.
I could see them losing to the Milwaukee Brewers
Sure.
in the division series.
Sure.
The Brewers get a couple of good pitching performances.
Burns, Woodruff.
Against that depleted Dodgers rotation, and they could be out early. Certainly they'd be up against it in an NLCS against the Atlanta Braves. Outgunned, outmanned on almost every turn in that series. I mean, the Braves, the way they hit against what the Dodgers pitching right now, I think that would be a 4 or 5 gamer.
I think it's a little dicey if you're a Dodger fan right now. You didn't like that loss last night. You didn't like blowing that lead. You had that
It's
game.
not a good sign.
You had that game won.
All guests on Ben Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad Fan Hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Come back, the national media taking their shots at the Padres yesterday. That and more coming up on Ben Woods.
All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Tuesday, September 12th. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. To my left is Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Joins us today on National Report Medicare Fraud Day. I'd like to use this platform to report one Benjamin Higgins for his Medicare fraud.
I don't think I'm old enough to participate in Medicare
Hence
fraud.
the
yet.
fraud.
Oh, right.
Yes.
I got it. Now I understand.
Hence the fraud.
Thought we forgot about that, didn't you?
Also, National Ants on a Log Day.
I am going to
Ben's got the
exterminate
ants.
my ants
You
on a
have
log if I
ants
can.
at home?
So ants on a log is celery with peanut butter and raisins. I'm not a fan.
I think I could do it.
I don't like
I've never
that
had
combo.
it, but I think
You've
I could
never,
do
I've
it.
had it.
I don't think I've had it, but I think I could do it. I
It's
like
the
all
raisins
three of
that
them.
would turn me off, if anything.
I like
I've,
those.
I've dunked celery into some peanut butter.
It's weird. I have never loved the peanut butter and jelly combination.
Me neither.
The classic sweet fruit with the peanut butter. Now, I can do like honey and peanut butter, like a little bit of sweetness with the peanut butter. I don't mind that, but I can do chocolate with peanut butter. But the fruit, like jelly with peanut butter, I've never enjoyed that play off of each other.
I do like raisins a lot. I'm one of the
I like
few,
raisins too.
But I don't know that I like them in peanut butter and celery.
I wouldn't like them with peanut butter.
Interesting. Breaking news.
Ooh.
Ian Rappaport just tweets.
Aaron Rodgers.
Quarterback Aaron Rodgers does, in fact,
he's fine.
Have a torn Achilles. The MRI is confirmed. He is out for the season after just 4 snaps.
So
bananas.
Jets fans are obviously devastated. You know who's really crying this morning, though? Television executives.
Oh, dude, yes.
The Jets' upcoming schedule was tailor-made for an Aaron Rodgers. We're going to shove so much Aaron Rodgers down your throat. So after the Monday Night Football game last week, they have the prime afternoon game next week at the Dallas Cowboys. Jets-Cowboys. I mean, it was going to be everywhere next week. After the Cowboys' 40-0 win, you were going to hear nothing other than Jets-Cowboys. After that, home against the New England Patriots. That was just a regular afternoon game. But then Sunday night versus Kansas City on October 1st. Chiefs, Jets, Aaron Rodgers. That's not happening. And then a couple weeks after that, they play the Philadelphia Eagles at home in the Fox afternoon slot. Then they had the Monday Night Football against the Chargers on November 6th was going to be another Aaron Rodgers big game. And then at the Raiders on Sunday Night Football the following week was, Aaron Rodgers goes to Vegas. That's not happening. Then they had the Amazon Prime game on November 24th against the Miami Dolphins on a Friday. That was going to be a giant Aaron Rodgers showcase. I mean, it was designed, like the whole primetime schedule was basically built around Aaron Rodgers and the Jets this year. And now it's Zach Wilson or whoever they end up signing, but not unless Tom Brady comes out of retirement. And I would say television executives are praying that he does, because whether he's good or not,
Can't imagine.
It's the only way to save what was supposed to be a Aaron Rodgers-centric television schedule this year.
Dare I say, if that happened, there would be riots in the streets of Boston.
Oh my
if
God.
Tom Brady came out of retirement to go play for the Jets, who have an absolutely elite electric defense. They do have some playmakers on offense. They've got 2 really good running backs.
The Patriots aren't going anywhere this year. The Patriots are last place team.
No, but for Tom Brady of the New England Patriots lore to go and say, you know what, I will.
Just honored Sunday.
in Foxborough.
Put into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Would they take him out of the Hall of Fame if he played for the Jets?
But imagine being a Patriots fan, and that's the team that you hate, and Tom Brady absolutely owned them, and you're like, oh my God, Tom Brady is now the starting quarterback for the New York Jets. There would be riots in the streets of Boston. It would be such good.
Would it damage his legacy?
No, it's like, funnily enough, did you watch the pregame between John McEnroe and Aaron Rodgers? Did you guys see that interview?
No.
Yes, I
You
did.
did?
Yeah.
So-
I thought it was weird that John McEnroe was interviewing Aaron Rodgers.
Well, he's a huge Jet fan.
I kept going, is that John McEnroe interviewing Aaron Rodgers?
He's a huge Jets fan, and they sat down, and he said, so are you worried at all that if it doesn't go well, will it affect your legacy? And he goes, how many Grand Slams did you win? He goes, 7. He goes, did they take those away from you when you were done? He goes, no, it's a good point. No, Tom Brady's legacy is cemented.
I mean, he's already gone to Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
won a Super Bowl
title.
title.
But it's not a division rival.
Can you imagine if he stepped in for Aaron Rodgers, a team that they stacked up their best chance to win a Super Bowl?
This was it.
And he comes in
and plays,
and
even suits up. I mean, you know that there's been phone calls already. Now, for the theater, for what we do, for what the NFL is, and what they do,
bring it on.
I think it would be, it's like prime. I mean, it would just, it would be unbelievable.
It's tough because I think maybe I'm more understanding than most. But if I saw that situation and it was like, it's a perfect situation for Tom Brady. I mean, we let him go already. He went somewhere else. I don't know that I'd be that mad if I was a Patriots fan.
You would.
You'd be furious.
You would. How do you feel about the Chargers? Not good.
No.
So, yeah, you'd be very, very upset. You'd be very, very upset. And we don't know. We weren't there for all of the Super Bowls and the parades and all the things that he's done.
But you don't take anything away from New England.
No, you still got
take
him.
Nothing away.
But now
That's why you got a Chargers
watch
comparison. You took something away from me. I'm not taking anything away from you by Tom Brady getting to play another season for a team.
What if Tom Brady was like, all right, you know what? I am interested. Who wants me? Right? Would New England? They probably wouldn't look at him. So they've already let him go.
I don't think so.
Now, HW in the chat brings up an interesting point. I don't know if it was finalized, but does he not own a part of the Raiders?
He does.
That's right, yeah.
Can he even play for
called
another
a conflict of interest, I think. So, I don't know. I mean, I saw Phillip Rivers' name thrown around. I don't know about that. But,
I mean, they're not in the worst position. At least the guy that is the backup, Zach Wilson, who got the win last night. He started every game for you last year. He's not just
and with a great defense, they went
random
7-10, and 5 of those 7 wins were against backup quarterbacks because the starter was injured. Right.
I'm not saying he's the answer.
They've shown that this team with Zach Wilson not good enough.
Think about all the work that you put in as an offensive coordinator and an offense to tailor your. Now you have to scrap the whole thing. So Nathaniel Hackett's like, I was going to go on a little staycation this weekend. I guess I'm not. I'm going to be revamping our entire offense. The work starts this morning, I'm sure, and last night probably for Nathaniel Hackett. And what a tall order it is for him. But it's you can't. I couldn't even wrap my head around it. And when he went down, I'm like, ooh, that doesn't look good. I wonder if he tweaked a hammy or something. And then when the cart came, I was like, oh man, this is like poor Jet fans.
What is next? Does he retire?
That's a good question. That's what everyone's talking about.
I don't know that he does.
Ben doesn't think he will. You said earlier you're going to leave $38 million on the table. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. Probably got some good cash.
I don't think it's a money thing.
I don't think it's a money thing. You can't go out like that. That can't be your last. But apparently the rehab for this is absolutely excruciating. Do you want to put yourself through this knowing, again, this could happen again at age 41?
I mean, you saw what Alex Smith put himself through just to get back for a few games with Washington, a team that was going nowhere. I feel like Aaron Rodgers in his head can sit down, in the next few days and go, all right, pros and cons. It's a lot of work, rehabbing, but I'm going to have to do some rehab. Whether or not I'm going to play football again, I'm going to need an Achilles in my life. Right. So I'm going to have to do some rehab anyway. Why don't I just go all the way? Because I can come back, and this team should be good enough that we could win a Super Bowl next year. I may want to play more than one season. It may
he said he wanted to.
It may not just be 1 year that he wants to come back for. It may be 2 or 3 more after this one. So my anticipation is that as the dust settles, he'll decide, all right, it's worth going all the way through the rehab to come back and play again next year.
Yeah, it's something that obviously everyone's going to be paying attention to and watching, and I don't know, man. It's more ayahuasca. It's more time away in a cave to think about. So now he's got a whole different soul searching scene that he needs to get through, and I mean I couldn't believe it. I still can't.
Shocking.
It was shocking. it's so much more shocking, Paul, that if he had gone out and thrown for 700 yards and 8 touchdowns, I would have been like,
or played the whole game and threw 6 interceptions.
Right. All of that is believable. This is truly unbelievable. A lot of people I saw blaming the turf there as well at MetLife.
David Bakhtiari, who was a former teammate of Aaron Rodgers, offensive lineman when they were in Green Bay.
He got hurt.
He was livid. Saying, the NFL will swap out the turf for grass when a soccer game is being played on their stadium, but they don't
for
give
the World Cup.
F about us.
Yeah, so a lot of people were blaming the turf. There's no reason they should be playing on turf instead of grass. Honestly, that injury looked like it could have happened anywhere, but I don't know enough about it to say one way or the other that grass would have helped Aaron Rodgers. But I know that a lot of players don't like playing on it. That's one thing you hear quite a bit, and I know it's a very expensive proposition. And if you want to look to the owner and go, oh, well done, but it was truly an unbelievable scene last night on Monday Night Football.
So our boss Adam texted. He came up with the example that I think is the most appropriate. He said, "How would Ben feel if Tony Gwynn finished his career with the Dodgers?"
Terrible.
Honestly, I don't think I'd be mad at Tony. I might be mad at the Padres for letting him go play. And if Patriots fans, if Tom Brady wanted to play for the Jets, I might say, maybe you shouldn't have just let him get away to the Bucs or anywhere else. You should have just made him a Patriot for life and figured it out. But in football, it's a little different with the salary cap and everything. Sometimes you do have to let guys go and make hard decisions. In baseball, I was a little irked that the Padres let Trevor Hoffman finish his career with the Milwaukee Brewers. But
100%.
Ultimately, I wasn't mad at Trevor.
No. And Trevor came home, and
he
Trevor's
came home,
here. Yeah.
And if Tom Brady did that, I would probably welcome him right back to New England when his career was over.
You got to give it like 5 years, but after that, it's all is forgiven.
So it's the right example. It's like, how would you feel? Well, not great about it, obviously, but
hate it.
I wouldn't be mad at Tony necessarily. It's not, as I made fun of Tony Gwynn Jr. in our roundtable a few weeks ago. Tony Gwynn Jr. played for the Dodgers.
Sure did.
He said, yeah, my dad didn't stop me from going to play for the Dodgers. That was my best opportunity. And while I may have been a Padre through and through, growing up, that was my best chance right then. So he said, yeah, you gotta go take it. No one stopped him from playing for the Dodgers.
Got a DM from my buddy. He says, listening to a rational adult like Ben try to understand how Boston sports fans behave is great entertainment. Yeah. Again, I've said it before. You're a sweet kid, man. You're a sweet, sweet kid. Do you realize when I went to a Yankees-Red Sox game at Fenway Park, I've told you guys this story before. I had a Yankee hat on in the restaurant, and they wouldn't serve me. The lady would not, and the guy walked over. He's like, take your hat off. You'll get served. I'm like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, no joke. I was like, okay, truly. It's not a rational thing.
Yeah, because I'd say, I want money. I mean, I'm a restaurant. We're in the business of serving people.
The rational person says, the customer's always right. The customer comes first. Not there.
I mean, everywhere is going to have fans from both teams. It's not unusual to do that.
All right. We're talking about how Boston would react. What does morning Packers talk radio in Green Bay or Milwaukee sound like today?
That's a really good question. They showed a shot from a bar last night with a bunch of Packers fans cheering, and somebody said, no, that was cheering when he got sacked. But it also showed when they carried him out of the car, they're like, yeah! Now, that's wild. That's wild to me. Look,
Jordan Love era started off well for them.
Listen. I mean, it's a bad look to celebrate.
A bad look.
I think you can quietly just feel
vindicated.
We all have our feelings about Aaron Rodgers. Well, nobody was happy about that. Watching that, right?
No,
I saw a video from a Jets bar where the fans were. It was a weird emotion because the Jets bar promised free drinks if the Jets lose, and then when Aaron Rodgers went down, they just started drinking heavily because, well,
they thought for sure they were going to lose.
And then the Jets win the game, and they had such mixed emotions at the end.
Yeah, they got to pay your tab.
But
we won.
They got to pay their tab, but we won. But we still lost Aaron Rodgers.
What a ballsy promotion that was, man! Holy cow! I love it. I mean, the tweets going around last night I can't read them, but they were ungodly. I mean, it was like the internet remains just
the jokes wrote themselves.
The jokes wrote themselves, but man, that was unreal.
All right, Sports Illustrated headline yesterday: the 2023 Padres are an epic failure. All right, tell me something I don't know. We'll go into a little bit more detail behind that piece coming up. Ben and Woods, we'll be right back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Got Jesse Agler coming up at the bottom of the hour.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, happy for Jesse.
I love it.
Tough season, but always fun to call a come-from-behind win.
Yeah.
Last night. He'll join us from L.A. in just a few minutes.
I'm about to roast him for his football take he sent me over text a week or so ago.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, you will be.
So Tom Verducci of Sports Illustrated wrote a piece yesterday with the title, "The 2023 Padres are an epic failure." You get no disagreement, I think, from even Padres fans. However,
jump right into the water. Jump right into our nightmare. The water's warm.
Want to dive a little bit in because everyone's been trying to figure out this team all year long. What was it? And Tom makes his conclusions very quickly. He says Padres are such an abject failure they will stand as a monument to what happens when talented individuals do not play team baseball. All right, that's it. Padres didn't play team baseball this year. Says their failure in the finer points of the game is epic. They're 0-11 in extra inning games. Yeah, we knew that. 6-22 in one-run games and have never won 4 games in a row. He then lays out the case where the Padres have been the worst or one of the worst teams in the following situations. And we've talked about this many times. Late and close, last in baseball, high leverage, offense last in baseball, hitting to the opposite field. That one I didn't know about, last in baseball. Taking called strikes. We knew they take a lot of strikes, last in baseball. Opposite field hits, second to last in baseball. Runners in scoring position, tied for 26th. With runners on base at all, tied for 25th. And 2 outs with runners in scoring position, tied for 24th. And then he kind of leaves it at that and then goes into an argument about how important it is for winning teams to hit well with runners in scoring position. The one thing that I still am confused by is, don't selfish players like to drive in runs too? Why? What's the argument that you're not playing team baseball because when you've got runners on base, you're not driving them in? Isn't that what a selfish player wants to do more than anything else? Get the glory of driving in runs?
I hear this a lot.
I mean, do selfish players love making outs when guys are on base? I don't think so.
No, and I hear a lot of the well, these guys are all egomaniacs. Well, I'm like, well, if they're egomaniacs and they want bigger numbers, that's absolutely no egomaniacs. Like, hell yeah, Cade 4 times, left 12 guys on. No egomaniac in the world is like, woo-hoo,
yeah,
crushed it today. Now,
even the ones that go, hey, I went 2 for 4. Yeah, they came when there was no one on base. I mean, you can say, yeah, I went 2 for 4, but they're still. They would rather get the hits when, it gets them on Sports Center. So when the highlights get played on TV, not when there's nobody on and they get a double. They want this to be the star.
But you see it a lot. It's the unwillingness, I guess, and it's proven out in the numbers as far as going the other way, the unwillingness to just kind of choke and poke, try to make contact, put the ball in play. And again, when you have a team that leads the league in, looking at strike 3, I unable to pull the trigger. That was something earlier in the season we're looking at. I'm like, these guys are locked up. It was so strange watching them not just unable to pull the trigger, like no pitch recognition, not ready to fire, not swinging in hitters' counts. I mean, I cannot believe how many 2-0 fastballs have gone by this team. I really can't. And it's not just Juan Soto who wants the ball in a perfect spot. It's everybody, man. It really is. There's more to this article, though, Ben, than just, the egomaniacs not getting the job done.
Well, I just like, they talked about all the taken strikes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, is it bad to take strikes? Is that a good thing? You want to be patient and get your pitch to hit. Now, if you are among the league leaders in strikeouts, I'd say you're taking too many strikes. Padres have the 8th fewest strikeouts in all of baseball.
How many looking?
I don't have the numbers on looking versus not looking, but they're in the top 10 in fewest strikeouts in baseball. So those taken strikes aren't leading to, an abnormally large number of strikeouts in those situations. So when you're putting that argument together, I think the most interesting part is that opposite field hitting.
Sure.
And
so right here, he says the average MLB team hits better with runners in scoring position than overall. In simplest terms, hitters know in those spots, they and their team can be rewarded by just putting the ball in play, whereas lower leverage situations encourage selling out more for the double, the home run. The Padres have an inverse profile. They are worse with runners in scoring position than overall. Is that a fundamental unwillingness to do the little things to go the other way.
In layman's terms, are they just over swinging all the time when they should be just
in layman's terms,
choking up? I know a lot of the advanced metrics say it's always a good thing to try to hit the ball hard.
Barrel it. Yeah,
just tapping the ball into play. You know what teams that do that, they hit into a lot of double plays.
Sure.
Well, the Padres hit a
ton
ton of double plays.
A ton.
So are they putting the ball in play or not? Are they? Because teams that just choke up and put the ball into into play hit into a lot of double plays in those situations. So the Padres are doing that. So are they hitting the ball into play or not hitting the ball into play?
I want to continue this. We got Jesse next. Right?
We do. Yeah,
okay.
we can.
Well, so this is the part of the article that got me, and it leads to more questions, though, right? And you think that it gives you an answer.
Yeah,
it
everything
doesn't.
just leads to
this
another.
Leads to more questions.
You open a door and it just leads to
it's
another
door. So check this out. San Diego's problems include coaching instability. A.J. Preller is the only GM in baseball who has changed hitting coaches 7 times since 2015. 7. And over those 9 years, the Padres have been last in his 9-year tenure, in hits, last in batting average, and last in on-base percentage. Nothing takes root. And so I'm sitting here going, well, I'll tell you what, if you run back this team with the same people next year, you answer one part of it with stability, but look how bad they've been. So A.J. Preller is the GM. Nobody wants that on their resume. In my 9 years, we've been last in the majors in hits, last in average, and last in OBP. How do you fix it? Is that A.J. Preller's fault? Like inherently, is it his fault? But that's no small sample size.
You're putting the Padres in a catch-22.
100%.
You're saying you have to fix this.
You got to fix it.
By fixing it, by changing the personnel, you're doing exactly what's causing the problem with too much turnover.
It's more instability. It's more nothing takes root. So let's say you march in a new hitting coach next year. Let's say Bob stays and AJ stays and whatever. Well, we got this guy's coming in. We need you all to buy in. How long does he get? I'm not saying they need to keep anybody, whatever, coordination of the offense. It hasn't been very coordinated this year. It hasn't. But it also hasn't been for 9 years. Is it a hiring problem? Is he hiring the wrong people from the get-go?
Are the Padres hitting coaches doing anything particularly different than the other hitting coaches in baseball?
Is the personnel, do they have all the tools at their disposal? We know that they finally got the hitting lab at Point Loma Nazarene that's going to help pitchers and
biometric.
Yeah, we know that. So that's coming, but it just got here. Other teams have been doing this for a long, long time. So does that give you a little bit more leeway if you're A.J. Preller, right? If you're the one making the decision that hiring these coaches and none of the coaches are getting through, that kind of has to fall on you, and you need to figure out a way to fix that. I don't know how you do it.
All right, we'll continue this discussion. Jesse Agler, though, is going to join us. We'll play the Incorporator. He's up in L.A. Got to call a nice come-from-behind win last night for your San Diego Padres. Jesse, Tony, they deserve it.
Yeah,
it's been a long season for them as well. I was happy for them last night. Talk to Jesse Agler when we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. San Diego's country station, our friends over at 103.7 KSON and Moonshine Beach are coming together to raise money to help those impacted by the devastating wildfires in Lahaina. You can join them for a special benefit concert today, hosted by Kimo Jensen, performances by country stars Brian Kelly from Florida Georgia Line, Chase Matthew, Runaway June, Tim Duggar, and more. 100% of ticket sales going to help those impacted by the Maui wildfires. You can go to KSON.com for more details and to purchase tickets. I did see today that they are still planning on playing the Maui Invitational Basketball Tournament. Going to do it on Oahu at least this year, but hopefully they'll be able to rebuild and get back to a semblance of normalcy sometime soon.
When does that go down again?
That is usually November. Early
right.
Season pre-college basketball tournament every year around Thanksgiving. All right, Jesse Agler is standing by. We will play the Incorporator, talk to the voice of the Padres right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Denick.
Traffic brought to you by iAccident Lawyers. We still have a few problems out here, guys. One of them is this accident on the westbound 8, right past the 67. We've got a couple vehicles involved there in the side. Then up ahead before Texas Street, another crash. That one has been moved over to the right shoulder. Reports of a possible encampment fire south on side of the 805 at 47th Street. Some smoke visible from that right shoulder. And northbound side of the 805 just before H Street. Collision involving a couple vehicles. That is in the center divide. iAccidentLaw.com fights to get you the bigger win while you focus on getting back on the road. iAccidentLawyer.com. It's the way to go. Call 800-920-0810. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's go out to our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Got to call a fun come-from-behind victory last night at Dodger Stadium. And even though the Padres won't be going to the playoffs, it still feels good to beat the Dodgers. Jesse Agler joins us right now on 97.3 The Fan. Always nice to quiet all those fans in blue in that stadium, Jesse.
Well, I mean, by the end, there weren't many there. It was it was kind of like your stereotypical Dodger Stadium night, in terms of leading. But, of course, it didn't necessarily look like a game that was going to come down to the wire, although it did. And, yeah, I mean, my main thought is it was all kind of like wrapping up last night was, this is exactly the kind of game we thought we would see 100 times this year.
Yep.
That was the kind of thing that they were going to be capable of. That was going to be the kind of thing that was maybe going to be their hallmark in 2023. You get, multi-hit games out of Soto, Machado, Bogarts. You come back against the Dodgers. You break some hearts. You get good relief pitching. It doesn't even matter that your starter didn't get out of the third inning. But, of course, it's the first time all year they've come back from a deficit like that.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess I want to say better late than never, but not really. It doesn't, it doesn't really matter that the old sports trope, Jesse, and But hey, I honestly, truly, for you guys, like getting a chance to call a game like that finally, it must feel like it's been forever since you guys have gotten to call something like that. A 3-run shot by Soto to
a little extra oomph in the call.
a little extra oomph in the call, and it's just can't believe it's taken this long.
I mean, one of the ways I think, we approach from a broadcasting standpoint the last couple of weeks here is every game is its own little package, right? What happened yesterday, if it was bad, doesn't really matter. What might happen tomorrow doesn't matter. What happens with the Diamondbacks or whoever doesn't matter. And, this is still fun. It's still baseball. It's still entertaining. And obviously there's a larger context, that for this team this year is very disappointing. But, yeah, like you said, you see your team hit a 3-run homer in the 9th inning to go ahead. Like, when is that not going to be enjoyable?
Right.
And in that moment, celebrate it. In that moment, sort of enjoy it. Obviously, as we all know there's a larger context here. But it's still baseball. It's still fun. And you're right. I mean, it's something to, I think, be enjoyed, regardless of everything else going on.
Jess, even in the win last night with 11 runs, I think the Padres still went 4 for 14 with runners in scoring position. And we were talking about Tom Verducci's piece, Sports Illustrated posted yesterday about the failures of Padres. And it feels like it always comes back to that. Either runners in scoring position or late and close, clutch situations that was where the Padres failed the most. Probably Bob Melvin and A.J. Preller and most of the players would nod in agreement as well. But the cause of that is what is really baffling to everyone. As you've kind of gone through the season and talked to people, I mean, does anyone have a working theory as to why this team has struggled so badly in those situations this year?
No, and I don't think you could intellectually, in an honest intellectual way, give an answer to that. I don't think there's like any kind of mathematical scientific reason for those struggles. I know fans, we don't want to hear, well, that just happens sometimes.
Right.
Because that makes it feel like totally out of your control. And there are people who are supposed to be in control. So you don't want to hear that. But I do think it's weird. I mean, last year they excelled in all those spots, right? It was the walk-offs and the extra innings and the close games. And I know it's not the exact team that was here last year, certainly, but a lot of the same guys. So, I remember saying to you guys last week that I don't know that I would spend too much time, after this season ends, trying to figure that stuff out. I just don't know that there's much to be learned or figured from that kind of thing heading this year. Now, there's stuff that goes to that numbers for your key guys down. What are the causes of that? Overall numbers. And I know we're going to end up with a couple 30-homer guys, but let's be real. The Padres did not get this year out of Soto, Machado, Bogarts all year what we thought they were going to. Injuries are part of that conversation. Absolutely, let's talk about that. Is roster construction part of that? Sure, let's have that conversation. All those kinds of things, right? Like those are the reasons that this team is, I think, in the spot that they're in. And so just breaking it down to RISP or close games or extra innings, to me, it's almost more, looking at like the symptoms as opposed to the cause in a way. And I think that's like the most intellectually honest way to go about this. There's no magic sauce to say, hey, we got to hit better with runners in scoring position next year, so we need to do X, Y, and Z. Like that's not really how the game works. You just need all of your guys to have better years, and they both, or all three of those guys, had like kind of down years this year, and so that happens all at the same time. Obviously, you're going to end up in a tough spot. I also think, the RISP stuff, the close game stuff, that can snowball positively and negatively on a team within a season. But you read all the studies that have been done about this for the last 25 years, and they all indicate, all right, yeah, it can snowball, again, good or bad, within a season, but it's not going to have an impact necessarily the next year. It's kind of like you get a fresh start with all those things the next season. So, there's that. And you might notice I didn't mention Fernando in this conversation. Obviously, it is a big four, not a big three. Tony going back to spring training when we were talking about this, was like really out in front of saying, you cannot expect Fernando to be peak Fernando this year. You just can't after not just the surgeries, but being gone an entire season out of Major League Baseball. You cannot expect him to just immediately pick up right where he left off. Now, he still had a really good year, obviously. Still better than probably 90% of players in baseball. Kind of like Ronald Acuna last year, coming back from the knee injury. He was good, but he wasn't like this crazy MVP Acuna that we're seeing this year. And, Tony literally in spring training this season said, we can't expect too much of Fernando this year, but next inning 2024, he expects him to go crazy again, kind of like he did before everything went down. So, we'll wait and see. But again, for me, I just don't know that there's like a real way to break down RISP. What can we do better about that?
That's a good point. Talking to our pal Jesse Agler here on Betos this morning. Where do you stand on? We had an interesting convo earlier in the day about Manny Machado, and if he's out of the off the field and DHing only, honestly hit 2 bombs last night. But talked to Kevin Acee after the game. He's like, look, it's a coin flip day to day. I tend to be on the side of, man, shut that guy down, get him ready to go for next year. You've been around baseball long enough. There's a lot of pride that goes into guys that post every single day, and that's one thing. Manny is famous for, is posting, playing with an injury. Where do you kind of stand on that as a fan? I know it's different as a broadcaster, but as a fan, doesn't it make sense to you to say, all right, man, if there's something that needs to be cleaned up, do it now, come out guns blazing 2024?
Yeah, if that's the case. And I don't know yet that that's the case necessarily for Manny this year. I mean, the $2 million questions are obviously, do you need to have surgery, A, and B, is it something that you can make worse, by continuing to play? And if the answer is no to both of those questions, then yeah, man, go for it. Get your 30, do your thing, whatever. But, if the answer is yes to one of those questions or certainly to both of those questions, then the calculus changes a little bit. So I don't know, the particulars when it comes to Manny and those two things. So, I'm not going to weigh in on that specifically. But what I will say is, and you're right, the posting thing is a big deal to a lot of guys in this sport. I have kind of evolved on this as I've gotten a little bit older and more mature as a human being. Like, I think sometimes you got to protect these guys from themselves.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Whether that means a day off or whether that means maybe an IL stint in June, with certain things. And again, look, every injury, every knock is going to be a little bit of a different thing. But I think, my view of it as a fan is that, hey, we got to always be thinking big picture, particularly for a team that has the kind of postseason type expectations that this team has and will continue to have, by the way, for the foreseeable future. It is about team. It is about the collective. It is about the big picture. It is about the end of October. And so if that means, hey, we got to shut you down for a couple of weeks in June so that you're going to be better in September and October, then let's go for it. Hey, I know you don't want to take a day off, but you know what? You look like you need it. We're going to do this and we'll be just fine. It's very easy when that lineup pops up on, social media and on the MLB in the middle of the afternoon every day for fans to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this lineup. Look who's in there today. There's no chance we're going to win. Every time that happens, they win 12-3, right? So, that the randomness and the stupidity of baseball is that, you can survive a guy like that getting a day off, even though we all obviously want to see them on the field every day because they're just some of the best who have ever lived to play this game. Again, for a team like this with the expectations that they're going to have for a while now, for me, you got to always be thinking about big picture. And it shouldn't be up to the player to say, hey, I need a day. I need to go to the IL. If you end up in a situation like that, sometimes I think, that has to come from somewhere else.
Talking to Jesse Agler, voice of the Padres, and you mentioned the bullpen had a really nice night last night, 6 1/3 innings, just the 1 run allowed by Hader. And, I think there's some interesting decisions. Obviously, Hader is the big one, and I don't think he's going to be back, but you are going to have guys back like Robert Suarez, who looked good last night, Scott Barlow, who was acquired at the trade deadline, Tom Cosgrove, who's had a really nice rookie season. You're going to have to make a decision on Luis Garcia, who has quietly pitched really well the last month or so after struggling early in the year. To me, building a bullpen has got to be one of the toughest things that GMs do because year to year you get a lot of variance between the success, given the limited innings that they've got. How do you kind of assess the Padres bullpen through this season and what they could have going into next year?
Yeah, there's no doubt, like you said, it's the trickiest one. There's more volatility with those sort of middle relief, late relief arms than, anything else, I think, on any big league roster. So, it's one of those things where, you're going to throw it in the hopper, over the off season and in spring training. And then, spring training is not the perfect way to evaluate guys by any stretch of the imagination, but it's kind of what you got. And then you go into the season and you say, all right, here's our bullpen. And then that's going to change 1,000 times. Between, March whatever in Seoul, South Korea, and the end of the season and into the postseason. So you just have to kind of remain flexible. You have to be ready to sort of evaluate on a constant basis. You don't want to correct necessarily by making too many changes, but you also don't want to be, rash about things. So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely one of the trickier things to do. I mean, it's said to you right now as a thought exercise, Ben. Write down, let's just say 6 relievers who you think are going to be in the Padre bullpen on opening day next year, and put it in an envelope, and we'll open it up that morning.
Let's do that.
I'll call in at 9 p.m. in Korea, whatever it's going to be, right? You might get 2 out of the 6. And then that says nothing about what the bullpen's going to look like, the All-Star break next year and at this time next year. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those all over the place things that is definitely, tricky if you're a general manager.
Yeah, I'll start with Suarez, Barlow, Cosgrove. Anyone could get traded. You're right. There could be so much turnover in a bullpen, you never know. But those guys I know are at least probably under contract for next season and had decent years this year. But so much changes in the bullpen between now and spring training next year. We'll see what happens. But, there are some signs for encouragement, I think, from the Padres bullpen. All right, we've got Mr. going to Chicago this week. But before he goes, one more hour of Woods. He's going to give us an incorporator word for Jesse.
I am?
Yeah, aren't you going to give us an incorporator word?
Sure.
You have one?
Yeah. Vamp for a second.
Vamp for a second. He's still trying to decide. Oops. I think he forgot that I gave you the word last week.
I did.
And he's still trying to figure out what word.
I'm doing the bend, where I check out an hour before vacation actually starts.
That's
Jesse.
fair. That's fair.
I did want to drag Jesse for a second. Buddy, stick to baseball. Your football takes are. You told me Miami was going to be horrible. So I bet against them, and they've won 2 games in a row.
Why would you think the Dolphins were going to be horrible?
Not Miami Dolphins, Miami U, the U.
Oh, the U of Miami, not the Dolphins.
They've bodied both teams that they played. Wait and see.
Well, first of all, they played Miami of all Ohio.
Yeah, they beat A&M though.
Miami.
They beat
and then A&M. Yeah, the A&M game was nice. I'll say this. First of all, nobody wants to hear me breaking down college football.
I do.
But second of all, I will say this. When I started watching the beginning of the first game against Miami of Ohio, I was pleasantly surprised about how physical and how fast they looked, which I was not expecting because for the last 15 years, they have not been out bodying, these random mid-major teams that come in. So they're definitely better than they were initially. But, we've learned our lesson, haven't we, about 2 games into any season.
That's true.
Trying to make grand
That's
proclamations.
true. That is
so
true.
let's have this conversation in November.
All right, I got
You
one
got
for
one?
you. I got one. All right.
I was racing to come up with one in case you didn't get one.
I got it.
so.
You ready, Jesse?
Yeah.
Yes, ready, always.
Succedaneum.
Ooh.
Okay.
Succedaneum. Succedaneum.
It sounds like a combination
no.
between success and sadness.
No, I'm messed up. I just sent it to Paulie if he can get it in quickly. Succedaneum. 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 A substitute or replacement for something. Succedaneum. That's it. Wow, that is a mouthful.
Succedaneum.
So I'll text it to you as well.
Succedaneum.
Succedaneum. Oh, that should be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Succedaneum.
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 Paul will be a
Succedaneum.
for Woods when he goes away.
That's exactly right. This game's Succedaneum. This pitcher Succedaneum.
It almost sounds like a gardening term.
It kind of does.
Yeah, like
it does.
Like a rhododendron,
Yeah,
a geranium and a rhododendron, a succedaneum.
Succedaneum in a baseball broadcast will be something for you guys to hear. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Have a safe rest of your trip to Los Angeles and Oakland. In fact, I want you to count how many people are in Oakland this weekend.
Like
individually.
By hand.
Won't take long.
And how many possums we see in the booth.
Yeah. Oh, God, I'm so sorry.
Thanks, Jesse.
Hang on. What's the worst thing you've seen
in Oakland?
Oh. You haven't gone much.
What was that?
What's the worst thing you've seen in Oakland?
The worst, like anything?
Yeah.
Coliseum.
Like in the Coliseum, in the stadium.
No, I mean, like, I kind of like it. I mean, obviously, it's like a really sad state of affairs right now.
Right.
And they're doing the thing where they're kind of like the Chargers did with Qualcomm. We're like, we'll never improve this, and then they'll just give us money. But, like, it's a throwback. It's kind of like L.A., honestly, or like going to Toronto. It's like, one of those stadiums that was built in a different era. And so because now that's sort of like not the norm anymore, I kind of like, it's like, this big, loud, multi-purpose, whatever it is. But obviously it's a fairly sad situation up there. But I kind of like going. It's a good booth. You can down low. You can see nicely. I've only been a couple of times, but yeah, I think everybody knows what it is.
All right, let's see a series win, back-to-back wins against the Dodgers tonight. Thank you, Jesse.
You got it, guys.
Jesse Agler on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. I mean, you said it's a replacement, right? A succedaneum?
Succedaneum.
So when like Jose Azocar goes in defensively in the ninth inning, he's the succedaneum
Yes.
for Juan Soto in left field.
A substitute or replacement for something.
That could be very easy in baseball.
Yeah, sure. Sounds funny.
All right, we'll come back. Randall reports some headlines from Paulie on this Tuesday morning. Still to come on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I know you hate it when I bring up golf,
But
you
have.
Do you see the tweets this morning?
You've got 2 days. Oh God, what tweets?
No,
of
he
what?
doesn't.
Tiger Woods on the range.
Oh,
hitting some golf balls this morning. Some video of him after. I mean, you had to question whether or not he'd ever even be able to swing again after more surgeries and been out. And I don't know if this means a comeback is in the works, but first time in many, many months we've seen Tiger Woods actually holding a golf club, swinging a golf club at an event at Liberty National.
just hitting some
Putting on
chips
like
or
a junior-
something. Or?
Yeah, some short pitches. They brought his bag out, full bag out though. He was introducing junior players yesterday. That's got to be a pretty cool experience. You walk to the tee and the person introducing you is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, no, on the first tee is so and so.
Will he go? Is he like a Ryder Cup tagger, like hanger on?
I think there was thought that he was going to be like a vice captain.
Yeah.
He will at some point be a
He
Ryder
is
Cup
known for
captain.
his vices, so
he will at some point be a Ryder Cup captain.
he'd be a good guy to bring.
Almost. The process is you do a couple of them as like a vice captain, and then you
I wanna be a
rise
vice
to the
captain.
captaincy.
I want to be a vice,
vice captain? That would be
Yeah,
fun.
captain of the vices. This is all in. I got you guys dialed. Everyone gets showered and changed. Meet down here in 15 minutes. Oh, yeah, I love that. Well, good for him. I hope see him play.
Yeah.
for me.
No, I mean, it's been a while. I'd almost forgotten. Like, oh, yeah, Tiger Woods could still play golf again at some point. But, yeah, I saw that on my Twitter feed this morning, and it had been quite some time since I saw Tiger holding a golf club.
Excellent.
So, yeah, never a bad thing. All right, you can listen to Sam Levitt's podcast, Inside San Diego Baseball. Sam covering everything going on with the Padres. Of course, he is up in Los Angeles with the team. Probably an enjoyable night last night for Sammy with the Padres coming from behind to win. You can check it all out at 973thefansd.com, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Let's just get right to it. It's time for the Rindle Report today. And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
Take it away, Paulie.
All right, gentlemen.
Well, we got some good ones.
We do. Let's keep it rolling with the Monday Night Football fallout. So yesterday, Aaron Rodgers, I think I saw it was officially 75 seconds was his 2023 season. He made it 4 plays before being carried off. The breaking news from the last hour just confirmed everything that everybody thought. He is out for the season with a torn Achilles tendon. And I saw Darren Ravel was writing about for Action Network. Sports books, I guess, last night were pulling, or I guess giving refunds for all prop bets that involved Aaron Rodgers. You can go on and, of course, pick the game, the winner, the over, the under, the spread.
How many yards,
You
how
can
many
also
touchdowns.
go into the player bets. Yeah, the prop bets, over, under, 300 yards, over, under 2.5 touchdowns, what have you. And so it says here, Monday night, the sports betting world was going nuts. Like, are we going to get our money back?
You saw fantasy teams, guys needing 1 point to win their match up to Aaron Rodgers under center. And they lost because he did not get one.
Yeah, I saw someone was like
point.
0.05 points, and they had Aaron Rodgers, and the other team had nothing left. So, like, 1 completion.
Yeah, 1 3-yarder.
Yeah, and you've got it. It's over. And they lost. It was incredible.
Now, this isn't the first time that something unexpected has happened in a game where people have said, well, I'm screwed. Like, I didn't even get a chance. I want my money back. Doesn't usually happen. However,
try that
yesterday, DraftKings refunded
at a table
all Aaron Rodgers prop bets,
That's
as well
amazing.
as those, if you had an Aaron Rodgers prop bet in a parlay, got refunded.
They just booted it.
What if you vote? What if you
MGM?
bet on the under though? You don't get a refund. You want to say, pay me out my money.
Yeah, if you took under
I don't think
265
they
yards.
did anything with the over-under.
They let those go.
BetMGM refunded, which, by the way, if you have a BetMGM account, just be careful. They got hacked recently, and it's gnarly.
The whole casino did. Like their
Yes.
slot machines weren't working, their hotel keys, like the electronic
Yes,
keys
the
weren't
whole-
working.
It was a full
Not
ransom.
just gambling, the whole
Massive
system.
cyber
It's like
attack.
Ocean's 11.
Yeah,
in
yes,
real life.
that's exactly right. They also said, for some reason, I follow like the Vegas police blotter on Twitter, because it always tweets out like, the craziest man running down the street, doing the helicopter. Like, it's wild. But one casino, I can't remember which one they said, actually paid them out. They paid the ransom, like $30 million to make it go away.
They were going to lose so much money otherwise. It's like we need. It's worth it just to pay the money.
Pay it and go away.
Two of the books, FanDuel and PointsBet, they stayed strong. They said, house rules, we are not crediting anyone back. But I thought that was interesting. And the fact that DraftKings and BetMGM and probably a few others did refund prop bets yesterday, that's a slippery slope.
It is. It's pretty rare, too. It's
super rare.
It's good PR, as you mentioned earlier off the air, Ben. It's good PR for them. And, I mean,
if you happen to place a bet with one of those companies and they gave you your money back,
you'll bet again.
Thank your lucky stars. Say, appreciate it, but you certainly can't ever expect it. Because part of a wager, part of the unknown of a wager is that injuries can always occur. And you have to factor that in. Anytime you're making a bet, you got to know, I absolutely think that Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to hit over 25 home runs this season. But if he's out 60 games because of an injury and he doesn't get there, that was part of the equation of the wager. If the sports books knew that a player was going to be healthy for the entire season for sure, guaranteed, well, those numbers would be a lot higher, but it's baked into the over-under numbers, the possibility that they might miss some time. There might be some injuries in there. So you can't ever expect or be mad if a sports book says, no, I mean, you made the bet and, it didn't work out for you. Sorry, other people made the bet the other way and it worked out for them. That's how betting works. Half people on one side, half the people on the other side, and the bookie makes their little commission in the middle.
Like you said, smart move on their part.
But PR-wise,
PR-wise,
it was smart to do that.
Can't do it all the time.
Pretty wild story in baseball that started overnight and has continued this morning surrounding Alek Manoah.
Mama, this is a big one.
I don't even know what to call him right now. The former Blue Jay, the Blue Jay?
He's still a Blue Jay.
So there's a clip going around of a podcast or a radio show, Blair and Barker on Sportsnet that's out there in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 2-minute clip, and they're talking about it. This account on Twitter kind of broke it down. Alek Manoah has failed to report to AAA Buffalo because he was not happy that he was demoted because of performance. Now, the Padres faced Manoah, didn't they? A couple months?
After.
When was that?
So he had a really rough start to the season. They sent him down. They sent him down to Rookie Bowl, like maybe even instructional or something. And he went out and he pitched. He didn't pitch that well, but he was working on stuff. They called him back up.
It was in July.
Came back.
Yeah, made 6 starts, went 2-2 in those 6 starts, including a loss to the Padres kind of in July and early August.
So he was placed on the AAA roster, but never showed up. That took a roster spot on that AAA roster. And I guess he hasn't even thrown. He's not even working out. Hasn't really done anything. Man. And nobody really knows much. There was a Blue Jays blogger that says can't get too deep into specifics, but let me just say that all of the stuff coming out about Alek Manoah and his demotion is accurate. Really awkward situation unfolding here.
That's wild. So go down to AAA, and he's like, not doing it, not happy with how this has gone.
Now, is he still under contract next season with the Blue Jays?
I don't know.
Because you can't be counting on him, obviously, next year. You're hoping he bounced back. He was one of the best pitchers in baseball, obviously, 2022, and then just fell off the cliff this year.
1 year deal, looked like. Pre-arb. Yeah, he's free agent, I believe. No, it says ARB1.
No, so he's still got 2 more arbitration years, so they still control him. So, they bring him back, and if he pitches well, great. If not, oh well.
That's wild, though. Just not reporting.
Yeah, bizarre. All right, finally, McDonald's could be setting another slippery slope.
What are we doing here, guys? Mickey
So
D's.
McDonald's is apparently getting rid of the self-serve soda station.
Yes. Go fill up your own drink.
You know, you got usually it's like I see two usually,
Love it,
and
two.
it's got 9 sodas or whatever across the board. Did you guys ever go? all the
When
way
I was
across
6,
when
I
you were a
did.
kid?
Yeah.
We called it a suicide.
We did too. You can't call it that anymore.
No, but that's what we called it
We called
when
it
you
that.
did all the
I don't
different
remember what we called it.
fountains.
Yeah.
Now it wasn't as common of a thing when we were growing up, Paul, that you could self-serve your own fountains.
Yeah, true.
It was the usual was they had them behind the counter and you ordered a drink and refills weren't even free back then. You just
They
had to
weren't.
buy another
Yeah,
drink.
you get another drink.
And then they realized, we could probably get more business if for this 2 cents of soda, we just let people as much as they want and they're happy and they come back and it's a reason that they'll buy a $3 soda.
Yep.
And maybe we have to give up 6 cents worth of soda instead of 3 cents, but it's still a pretty good deal for us.
And there's one guy that will sit there for hours and just keep refilling his soda as he works on his laptop.
And even he drinks about $1.12
Right.
worth of soda, and it still makes money.
You know what
for
the
the company?
You know what the auto shutdown for me is when I go to a restaurant, if I order a Coke and they bring me a can and a glass of ice, I'm like, oh, yeah. So I gotta have to.
Now, why are they doing
One of
this?
the
Paul?
earliest times I remember getting in trouble, I was probably 8 years old. I was with my older cousin, a couple years older than me, and we went to a McDonald's. And he goes, "Oh, you can just take the water cup."
Yeah, thief.
Fill it up
Ben
with
does
Sprite.
it still at 48, I think.
Did you know?
I think I've seen you do it.
One of the employees
mean-
or the manager came out. He saw us sitting in a booth and sipping our
All right,
Sprite and our water
ruling
cup, and
here.
he's like, "Hey, that's stealing."
that's
I was-
stealing.
I was like,
want
"Oh
the
my
little,
god!"
I want the little glass of water.
Yes.
And it's just a little tiny glass. But I don't love the flavor of the water out of that thing. So I might put just like a spritz of lemonade.
Buy a
just to-
lemonade.
I don't want a lemonade. I just want a spritz of the lemon in the water just to give it, take away the tap watery taste.
Thief.
So I have to buy a whole lemonade
Indeed.
for $3 to get
Indeed.
maybe 3 drops of lemonade
Yeah,
into
yes.
my water.
Yes.
See, I don't want that. Doesn't seem right.
So
Well, it just seems right to steal lemonade.
Yeah.
It's not free lemonade to spruce up your water.
So Mickey D's, they are getting rid of the self-serve drink stations. They're transitioning to the system where the employees will fill all of the cups.
I'm sure they're
not
thrilled
gonna.
I bet
about
they're
that.
just elated.
They're not taking away free refills. They want to make that clear.
So it's like Chick-fil-A. You have to walk back to
Yes,
Can you
yeah.
refill my
Take
Chick-
the top
please?
off
Yes.
with them, hand it to them.
Nightmare.
It's a pain. You don't do it because it's a pain and you don't want to ask.
That's how they get you.
They think that this will cut down on theft and also in a
Ben.
post-COVID
This
world.
is your fault.
Thanks, Ben.
You did this.
No,
You
in
thief.
a post-COVID world, they're
Absolute-
saying this is going to be more hygienic as well.
That's the thing. Yeah, you do wonder how often they are sanitizing and keeping that station in order.
But wait. What do you really touch? You have your cup. You walk up. You hit the thing. It's not like you're licking the metal bar. You're not putting your mouth under the thing.
Yeah, haven't you seen like 6-year-olds going and doing it themselves?
Yeah,
and they're
but
just
what are they
everything-
touching?
Everything. They touch everything.
But what are you have a cup? You walk up to the thing. You go.
You're not supposed to touch anything. That's for sure.
The cup touches the metal bar and it sprays the soda out. You take it. You put your lid on. You walk away.
I can't even remember the last time I ate inside of a fast food restaurant.
Me neither.
I'm not saying I don't go through the drive-thru. I'm saying I go through the drive-thru, though.
But if you go through the
Take it home.
drive-thru, you can't get a refill at all.
Exactly.
So
I'm
that's
saying
why
I'm
you
not-
have to
I'm
go
not
in
affected.
and you get the refills at least.
No, I drive home.
I can't believe how much you've stolen over the years. What do you think?
Over
it's
the
added
years,
up to?
maybe 4 ounces total of
You bastard.
lemonade over like a 5-year period.
So you've never hit the Sprite?
No, I don't even like Sprite.
It's sacrilege. The lemonade, though, you never just taken a free lemonade.
No, I don't like lemonade. That's the thing. I would never buy a giant lemonade.
You wouldn't.
I like.
doesn't
Now
like
I'll buy an
lemonade?
iced tea and I'll put a little lemonade in it.
Okay.
But I've bought the iced tea.
Only
but if I
because
have
it's called an
water
Arnold Palmer.
and it's an ice water, I don't like. It just tastes kind of tappy to me.
The
So
water out of those is typically not great.
it's not great.
It's not
so I just
great.
need a little, just a like
Just a
1/2
a
second, just
splash.
to
All
to eliminate the flavor of.
I mean,
the
those
water.
half seconds add up, though. You know,
Yeah,
you
okay.
get 1,000 guys doing that a day, and you can see now they've taken it out of our hands. So.
I didn't even know Chick-fil-A didn't have the
Yeah, they don't have drink machines that you can
stations.
use.
do
yeah.
it.
I get curbside,
They
take
do
it home.
They do it. By the way, I had that new sandwich.
I did too.
What's the new sandwich?
Mamacita.
Yeah, the honey
Oh,
pimento
the honey. Oh, God.
Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That could be trouble.
I laid in bed after I had it thinking about it. You know that meme where she's like, what is he thinking about? Another woman? I'm like, no. I'm thinking about the chicken pimento sandwich from Chick-fil-A.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. This is,
Yeah, I didn't even want to admit it, you know,
It's
because I've been
decadent.
dieting, but I cheated because I had to try it.
Bro.
And it was really good. I was hoping it wouldn't be that good.
Me too.
But it was really good.
you know, it needs a little more honey. Maybe
oh,
I'll
really?
add
I
some
thought it was
honey.
plenty sweet.
Oh, I loved it.
I like the jalapeno.
Oh, me too.
That was good, too.
Oh, it was so good.
All right, enough food talk for the fat guys on the show.
Man. Try it, though.
We're not getting
really
paid
good.
for that endorsement. That one's just
It's really good.
people who like to eat. That's a thing right there. Oh, man.
New segment. Ben doesn't like. You don't like lemonade.
Things
you don't
Ben
like
doesn't
Sprite.
Really never been a fan of lemon lime sodas at all.
It's too bad.
Not my thing.
Sprite is elite.
Sounds like a topic wheel question.
Yeah, could be.
Who knows? We may spin it when we come back. Ben and Woods with Check Traffic and then more next on 97.3 The Fan.
mama. Spicy meatball. Woo. Some breaking news in the NFL. Man, this is nuts. So our pal, we've had him on many, many, many times. We love Jim Trotter.
Formerly of the San Diego Union Tribune, formerly of ESPN, and formerly of NFL Network.
Yeah.
Now at The Athletic.
So now
Sports Illustrated too.
Sports Illustrated too,
that's
yeah.
right.
All right. He's been all over the place.
So, story just came out this morning. Former NFL Network reporter Jim Trotter is now suing the NFL and its cable channel for racial discrimination, and the filed complaint accuses Jerry Jones and Terry Pagula of making racist comments. So his contract with the NFL media was not renewed after he asked about the league's lack of diversity commitment during each of Commissioner Roger Goodell's last 2 Super Bowl press conferences. So he is now suing them for racial discrimination, and there are some absolute bombshells in this. These quotes that he's got, Ben, talking about things that Jerry Jones said. I'll read you both of them. I'll read you Terry Pagula's. So he said, in reference to player protests against racial injustice, that, quote, if the black players don't like it here, they should go back to Africa and see how bad it is. Mr. Trotter raised complaints and concerns about this remark. No action was taken. Another example, Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys responded to a question posed by Mr. Trotter regarding the dearth of black professionals in decision-making positions for the NFL by stating, quote, if blacks feel some kind of way, they should buy their own team and hire who they want to hire.
Oh, my God.
Mr. Trotter raised complaints and concerns about this remark. No remedial action was taken.
And then, of course, when his contract came up, the thinking here is that, well, they decided to let Jim go because
he spoke up.
He's causing waves in the NFL, the money-making operation that is the NFL. We don't need someone like that on our payroll, so let him go. And he has moved on since then to the Athletic, but taking the NFL, trying to hold them accountable those are from extremely gnarly quotes, if true, that were submitted in the lawsuit.
Yeah,
ask Donald Sterling how quotes worked out for him. I'm curious what's going to happen.
I mean, we know Jim Trotter well enough. He's not making stuff up.
No. But
nor
will
is anyone...
Roger Goodell protect his guys?
The answer's
unequivocally
yes.
You're from Dallas.
Yeah.
Is it a stunning revelation that Jerry Jones might have a tinge of racism in him?
Nope. And I mean, the stories have come out about Jerry over the years.
Wasn't it like last year the photo came out of him as a young man?
Yeah.
I don't remember where it was.
It was
he was standing in front of the schoolhouse where they were trying to integrate it, wasn't it?
It looked like Forrest Gump. Like the
no,
picture
it really
was
did.
like, it was crazy.
And somebody kind of not reimagined it, but highlighted it and
like the National Guard is walking this
high-res.
young black girl into a school that they're trying to integrate for the first time, and Jerry's one of the guys on the steps of the school, trying to make her uncomfortable and keep her from getting into the school. Wasn't that the picture that everyone saw?
Yes, and I mean, but he's like Teflon. Jerry Jones is like nothing sticks to that guy, man. I mean, there's been crazy stories about him for many, many years. So good luck to Jim.
But as we've seen, I mean, as untouchable as most professional sports owners are, we have reached a limit on some of them. You had in obviously Donald Sterling, as Paul mentioned, in the NBA, but in the NFL,
Carolina got
Jerry Richardson,
that's
and
right.
then even Dan Snyder. Finally, they had enough of him and kicked him out. Now I don't expect Jerry Jones to get kicked out of the NFL anytime soon, but it's courageous of Jim Trotter to bring this up because it's his livelihood.
No doubt.
And, it's tough to employ someone who has the courage of their convictions and, are willing to hold other people accountable. That's not always a comfortable position to be in.
Not always fun, no.
But Jim has never been afraid of making other people uncomfortable. He makes us uncomfortable every time we have him on.
He's
great, but he's not afraid to make people uncomfortable.
No, I got in my first argument on the radio with a human being, and it was the one guy yelled at about the iPad. But then with a guest, Jim Trotter,
live on the radio.
We had been on the air for like 3 days, and Jim and I got into an argument about Josh Rosen. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was so high on Josh
Yeah.
Rosen, and I was not high on Josh Rosen. And we were like yelling at
Point
each other.
for what?
Yeah, I was like, well, who's right? Thank you. It's like one of 3 things I've been right about in 5 years. But no, man, this is a huge, huge story right now, breaking everywhere, all on social media. And I've been wanting to get Jim on for a while, so I wonder if he can talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder.
He tweeted. It wasn't just reported, but he like tweeted and showed personal news and pointed an arrow at this. So
Yeah.
he's not shy. It's Jim. He doesn't shy away
It's true.
from anything.
That's kind of the point of this whole thing, man. Wait for me to get back. If you guys can have
I was going to say, we were talking about having him on tomorrow
if you want to, go ahead. I'll definitely be tuning in for that, man. So just now, the Bills have put out a statement. It says, the statement attributed to me and Mr. Trotter's complaint is absolutely false. I'm horrified anyone would connect me to an allegation of this kind. Racism has no place in our society. I'm personally disgusted that my name is associated with this complaint. Bills owner Terry Pegula. Ooh, man, this is just... It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Man, that's crazy.
Stuff, because when you go up against Jim Trotter,
Guy's going to have his ducks in a row.
This isn't some blogger who just appeared and made an accusation. This is someone who has covered the NFL for decades and is well respected and has worked for every major outlet that is out there for many, many years. So, you make that denial, you are going to war with Jim Trotter.
No doubt.
There's a lot of good reporters and writers that cover the NFL. You would be hard-pressed to find anyone more respected and more legitimate than Jim Trotter.
No question. No question
But
about
he's
it.
not going to play the game, and he's not going to suffer fools.
Get him on tomorrow.
But he doesn't suffer fools. I just told you that.
That's true. It'll be better without me here.
No, I include myself in the fools group that he doesn't suffer as well. So, no, we'll definitely extend an invitation to Jim Trotter to discuss what is going to be undoubtedly another very big story in the NFL.
Megan put it in the chat. Boo Trotter.
Boo, yeah,
Boo.
remember?
Yes,
yeah.
Boo Trotter.
Gets 1 million brownie points with me for coming on the morning after the Super Bowl, the video that goes around with him and Rihanna, and he goes, yeah, I'll come on, talk about it. Boo Trotter.
People are saying
Thank you, Boo.
if Jim gets Jerry Jones ousted from Dallas, the city of Dallas will absolutely celebrate because he's been running that team into the ground for many years, whilst maintaining the America's team image.
They love him now. He won 40-0.
Never winning really when it counts in a long, long time. So, all right, we got to go to break.
All right, final segment of Ben and Woods right around the corner. Something that I know you guys have been looking forward to and I've been dreading is going to happen in our next segment. I'll just leave it at that on
Jesus,
Ben and Woods on
what?
97.3 The Fan.
I have no idea what's happening.
I just want to be clear before I do this.
I don't know what you're doing.
I do not write the copy. I just read it.
Now I know.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Fresh, human-grade dog food delivered right to your door. From better poops to more energy. When you switch your dog's food to The Farmer's Dog, the effects can feel magical. What sorcery is this? None at all. It's just real food made for the health of dogs. Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/no magic.
I didn't write the copy either.
They have good copy.
They do. It's memorable.
The brown balls to the
good poops.
Good poops.
Better poops.
Better poop. Or as my 2-year-old calls them, poops.
Poops?
Poops. Da-da, poops.
Spinal.
Poops. That food looks pretty good for dogs. I'm not kidding. I've seen it.
While we may be laughing at the copy, I can tell you I am subscribed to Farmer's Dog.
You are.
It changed our old guy's life.
All right.
He is a new dog.
Better poops.
Better poops.
Poops.
I know you're probably thinking out there, if you're not a dog owner, aren't they all kind of bad? I mean, what's a good one really versus a bad one?
Oh, there's bad ones.
A good one is you can just kind of you take the bag and you just pick it up and it just cleanly pop right into the bag and close it.
Picking up a Twix bar.
Yeah, very easy.
Yeah.
You know, a bad one is you're kind of
do you have kids? I mean,
and it's not good. It's really not good. So if you can get better ones, that's definitely an optimal outcome. Especially if you're the one who has to pick them up at your house all the time.
It's wild because I can change diapers. I mean, literally zero problem, and have done 2 billion of them in the last 5, almost 6 years. No problem. I mean, never bothers me. I always give it like, whoa, cursory dad move. But going out and following behind a dog and having to pick theirs up, even with a bag attached to my hand, it makes me retch every single time.
I don't really have a lot of diapers to change, but I've been in the room when a friend has had to change their kid's diaper.
No problem.
Can't do it.
No,
but I pick up after my dog every single time.
I could literally
think about it.
eat a sandwich and change a diaper at the same time. Would not bother me. I could have a sandwich like right here. Yeah, seriously. A pickle hanging out of my mouth, no problem. Just, let me get this thing real quick. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. I have to pick up one tiny little turd with a bag on my head. I'm like, every single time. So that's why those are important. And that's why we wanted to give you guys a public service announcement.
There you go.
Yep.
Better is better.
What do you guys want to do now?
I want to take a look at the traffic.
Let's do that.
And then we will evaluate for these last 15 minutes here of Ben and Woods.
There's an offer on Twitter I think we should talk about.
97.3 The Fan. Okay.
Yeah.
From the premier Kia of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the premier auto family, here's Kelly Tannick.
Traffic is sponsored by VA House Casino and Resort. Things are winding down pretty nicely on our roads. Still clearing this accident on northbound side of the 805 right before H Street. That is in the center divide. Traffic in San Diego may be stressful, so let VA House Casino and Resort alleviate your anxiety. Take a dip in alluring relaxation, rejuvenate in Willow Spa, or win that life-changing jackpot. Your unmatched staycation experience is just 25 minutes from downtown VA House Casino and Resort. And Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Before you get to anything else, I will remind people that we got another Padres-Dodgers game for you tonight here on 97.3 The Fan. 7:10 first pitch. Lance Lynn pitching against Michael Wacha. 6:10 pregame show with Sammy Levitt live from up there at Dodger Stadium. You've got some interesting games tonight in Major League Baseball. So did you see what happened in the Angels-Mariners game last night?
So I saw Julio hit his 30th last night.
30-30 club. He hit a 2-run home run, I think with 2 outs in the 10th inning to tie it at 5. But the Angels then scored 3 in the top of the 11th and beat the Mariners 8-5. And it was a costly loss because Seattle dropped a half a game behind the Rangers. So they're out of playoff position right now in the American League. The Texas Rangers moved back in with a 10-4 win over the Toronto Blue Jays.
They've won 3 in a row. They've righted the ship a little bit.
And now the Blue Jays are only a half game ahead of the Rangers. So you've got the 3 teams fighting for 2 spots, all separated by just 1 total game in the American League. It'll be 2 of those 3 teams that will make the playoffs, but one, the Blue Jays, Rangers, or Mariners, will end a pretty good season with nothing to show for it at the end of the year, and they are all fighting to avoid that disappointment. So Rangers, Blue Jays again today, absolutely huge. 2 of those teams playing against each other. And the Mariners going, we got to win against the Angels, a team that is out of it.
You cannot lose games to the Angels, man.
Shohei Ohtani was scratched last night again, this time with an oblique. So don't even know if he's going to be available. But, the Mariners have got to win those games.
And in the National League, the Phillies, Cubs, and Diamondbacks. I mean, the Giants and Marlins are still hanging around 1.5 game. They're tied. So the top 3, the Phillies. Pretty comfortable 3.5 game lead, top for the number 1 wild card, Chicago Cubs and the Arizona Diamondbacks. But the Giants, Marlins still kicking, and really, honestly, the Reds too. Reds are only 2 back.
So the Orioles beat the Cardinals last night 11-5, and what was somewhat significant about that game is that with that win over the Cardinals, the Orioles became the first team in baseball history to beat every other team in the same season. Now, it's never been possible before this season.
Right.
You've never played everybody in interleague play before.
Right.
So this is the first time that's even been possible. And the Orioles obviously were one of the first teams to actually play every team in baseball. It sounds like an incredible accomplishment. You beat every team in the same season. It's never been done before in history.
Because there was no opportunity.
But I looked a little deeper and I go, it's actually not that special. The Padres will do it if they just win. If they don't get swept by the A's and don't get swept by the White Sox, they actually will also beat every team this season. They have not
take 1 from Oakland and 1 from the White Sox.
They have not been swept by any other team in the season series this year. So, I mean, they only won 1 against the Pirates, but they got the one.
Yeah,
I think they only won 1 against the Brewers, but they got 1 against that team, and they weren't swept by any American League. It's the interleague teams that are more dangerous because you only play 3 games against each of the interleague team. But the Padres have done well against their American League opponents.
If the Padres were in the
and they have been swept in 1 of those series. So.
If the Padres were in the AL, I wonder what we'd look like this year.
I don't know. I mean, the AL is so much tougher now to make the playoffs. So the Padres have done so much better against American League teams than they have against National League teams. So the Dodgers also, I guess, will do it if they beat whoever they have left in their American League at least once. So it's not just the Orioles. It'll probably be a handful of teams that end up beating every opponent this season in Major League Baseball.
Little pass and bomb this morning, too, 28 seconds ago. The New York Mets are hiring David Stearns as president of baseball operations.
That's been pretty much a foregone conclusion for like a year now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
He was with the Brewers.
It says a monumental addition to the organization. Stearns, 38, my friends, will take over officially once the regular season is over. The new era of the Mets begins soon. What is his background?
Brewers, I believe.
Brewers.
Like their president of baseball operations as well.
Bigger market, more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think they had to wait until the end of this season for his contract to expire with the Brewers. And now that's why they never hired they only just brought in Epler. But they didn't make him the big guy, the president of baseball operations. He was just the GM. They were always waiting to hire likely this guy David Stearns to take over.
Obviously, pretty. I mean, if Jeff Passan says monumental hire, new era for the Mets. Now we heard that before Steve Cohen took over, and he spent every nickel that you could possibly spend, and then some. But again, if the Mets are getting smarter and stronger and better. The Padres need to do the same. I mean, every team's going to try to improve. How are you going to improve if you're the San Diego Padres after this absolutely dismal season? Do you run it back? I don't know. This is going to be one of the more this is going to be one of the more kind of edge of your seat off seasons. I think it will be.
For the Padres?
Yeah, I feel like because I mean, honestly, have we ever it could go. It could go a few different ways.
If it goes, it could be huge.
Massive.
But my guess will be is that their hands are going to be tied enough that they won't be really able to do anything massive.
Right.
I mean, the biggest thing they could probably do is trade Juan Soto. And that
no. I meant more of organizationally instead of like off-season, additions. Oh, we're going to get Jordan Montgomery or something no. I mean, what happens? You're seeing teams make moves to to improve front offices, things like that. It really does beg the question. Like, I don't know, because we haven't heard. We haven't heard from Peter Seidler. We don't know what the plan is.
Yeah, I mean, from a fan perspective, though, and I get it. We're all interested to see what's going to happen, and will A.J. Preller keep his job, and will there be changes? But in terms of player personnel, there's not a ton the Padres can do this offseason.
Sure. I mean, look.
I mean, every team's going to make some moves, but, the biggest thing they could do would be to trade Juan Soto. I don't know that they're going to do that, but ultimately, the team next year will look very similar to this year's team.
I think where there's a will, there's a way. Honestly, I think there's things that we probably haven't even considered that you could get other teams to look at. I don't think somebody's going to be like, can we get Xander Bogaerts off your hands for the rest of that contract? I don't think that's going to happen. But I think that there are some things that could be done.
I mean, I'd be shocked if Tatis, Machado, Xander, Darvish, Cronenworth, Musgrove. I mean, I'd be shocked if they weren't all back next year.
I could see one of those guys potentially going. Two. I could see two.
You could.
I could.
That would be a monumentally changing offseason. A lot of upheaval if they did that.
Just remember
now,
this,
Soto,
remember
for sure,
this day.
he could be traded.
Yep.
He's only got a year left. Snell, I mean, most of the reports say he's not going to be re-signed. And honestly, if they really think the price tag is going to be over $200 million, I think it'd be crazy to pay that much for Blake Snell.
Yeah.
So
what would be the most shocking thing that the Padres could do this offseason?
The most shocking thing they could do, I think it would be you trade Juan Soto would be shocking.
No, that wouldn't be shocking.
No, not I mean, we'd be shocked.
No.
I'd be shocked.
I would not.
Yeah.
I mean, the most monumental would probably be a change at president of baseball operations and general manager.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's not shocking.
I mean, in the history of sports, you have as many down seasons and disappointments as the Padres have. It should be almost expected.
I mean Peter Xander Bogaerts, that would be shocking.
Peter Seidler's going against the grain if he doesn't fire A.J. Preller.
Yeah.
Now, we know Peter enough that maybe it would be surprising for Peter Seidler to do it, but in the history of sports, it would be the least surprising thing ever.
Good call.
Oh, yeah. GM who hasn't really done anything in 9 years gets fired? Yeah. News at 11? Not really. I mean, just like every other city in baseball will be going, well, yeah, that makes sense. I'm surprised they haven't done it earlier.
Sure.
That would be the reaction around baseball. Now, we'd all be a little surprised just given what we know and what we've seen here. But
I think trading Juan Soto in a walk year would be shocking. I think I would be shocked if they did that. Shocked.
The most shocking thing they could do, and I don't think they're going to do it, would be to trade Tatis.
Yeah, that'd be the
People out there
most.
saying they'd be stupid if they didn't.
We know for a fact there are teams that would gladly take him
In a heartbeat.
and the contract and would probably give the Padres a pretty decent return.
Yep.
But that would be
That'd be shocking.
shockingly dramatic change in direction for the organization.
No doubt.
If they did that.
No, I mean, in my opinion, you build around that guy.
That's what I think they're going to do as
you
well.
Absolutely build around him. And you tell everybody, that's the guy. Like, this is the guy. We're building around this kid. And you wait for some of the reinforcements that you have.
Now, you're also building around Manny because I don't think he's going anywhere.
Well, the thing is, though, Ben, is...
Can you build around two stars?
That's a good question.
That's two very different stars.
Look at Mookie and Freddie.
Yeah,
yes, you can.
The biggest thing that the Padres need to do moving forward is they need to make it clear that they're building around these two stars, and everybody that needs to get with the program gets with the program. And if you're not with the program, then you need to figure it out, and you're out. I would think that knowing Machado and Tatis and Bogaerts, that they should be able to all coexist very happily. They're not bad guys. They're not, so intractable and so egotistical that I don't think that they couldn't do it. Now, this season has definitely not gone the way that they hoped, and I think it's been rough for all of them. But I think there is a world in which those guys can absolutely play together and succeed together. But if they don't think they can do that, then you've got to start making changes because this team will be built around Manny and Tatis for another decade, and Bogaerts really as well.
Can you build around 5 stars is the question.
I mean, and if you can't, then that was the big that was the AJ's biggest mistake.
Sure.
Is trying to build around a big 4 when you can't build around a big 4 because there's no such thing. You can't coexist on that level in a Major League Baseball team.
I'm telling you, man, a trip to, there will be no playoffs this year. My man, these guys need to get together. They need to get together and decide that was horrible. I don't want to go through that again. Do you? Can we coexist? We can. All right, let's air it all out. Let's figure it out. And let's go back and be the team that nobody wants to play next year and start playing for each other a little bit. But, yeah, look, Ha-Seong Kim's got a year left on his deal. I think he's a fan favorite, and I think he's getting better. I know he's kind of, right now, he's got to be exhausted. I mean, the way the dude's played this year, he's dipping down a little bit more, Ben. But I love what I've seen from him this year. That would be another shocking development. You'd be able to move Ha-Seong Kim when his value is higher than it's ever been. So these are all shocking things that could happen.
And part of me does believe that there's nothing that ails the Padres that winning couldn't cure.
No question.
If they had ever gone on a 6-game winning streak and gotten just the good feeling of like, okay, we're rolling, everything feels good, but they never had that all season long.
Never.
And I think that was part of the problem, that sometimes you need winning to foster more winning.
Sure, and to foster a better culture.
And they just never had it this year. And it's tough to have a good culture. When you can't win more than 3 games in a row, it's very tough for everyone to think everything is happy and great in a clubhouse.
Everything is happy and great in this clubhouse, that's for sure, the Ben and Woods clubhouse. Right?
Then why are you leaving?
Good culture. So I'm going to take off for a few days. My annual summer trip, going to Chicago for a couple days, and then to South Bend on Saturday. Paulie, want to wish you a very happy birthday.
Thank you.
I will call in on Thursday for sure. Not tomorrow. It'll be travel day tomorrow. Our flight leaves super early. But I'll miss you guys. Hold down the fort. There was a guy on Twitter.
Paulie's birthday's the 14th?
Correct.
You froze on our YouTube. It's really funny.
There was a guy on Twitter that said he's happy. He's happy to come in and fill in. He'll even dress like me. If you're interested, it's on Twitter. You guys could do that. That's weird that I'm
just gone.
I'm frozen. That's weird. But thank you guys, and I'll send lots of pics and bring you guys some good stuff from Chi-Town.
I just hope that the Fighting Irish don't lose while you're there.
Dish.
I will not bring you any deep dish. I know how you feel about it. I feel the same way. And look forward to... I will not be bringing you a Notre Dame shirt either, Ben.
I don't want one.
I know you don't. USC, Lakers. We know where your heart is. Who you rooting for tonight? Lance
Padres.
Lynn or Michael Waka?
Michael
Are
Waka.
you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Great job.
Very sure.
Love you guys.
All right, Woods, you have a great trip.
I will.
See you, buddy.
All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall Chevrolet. Find new roads. For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Coach coming up next here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.